I'll double check real quick just to make sure you're good. It is back up. I told everybody in chat it was just a error. So. I'm also paused at 5 seconds. We're ready. Yeah, we are. It's fine. They had a pause anyways. The pause just. I'm refreshing it. I think I still see it. Yeah, it's on the pick and ban right now.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Close your eyes, have faith in me, and leave the lie behind. You're never alone. Whenever it's gone, let the shadows stay
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are getting into it with Supernova taking on TSM Amateur Team. If you're just now joining us, my name is Travesty. I am joined here by Coleslaw. And Cole, looks like we are just going to have a standard 5-point, even though we got a little bit of some spice in our draft.
Yeah, I mean, the Zed is the spicy pick here. It's something that I haven't seen in a while. Of course, that is a pick that Doxa is comfortable on, can pull out, can go ham on if he gets ahead. I don't love it into the Supernova composition. There's a lot of melee champions that don't really care about a Zed. But he can kind of threaten a Tristana. Of course, if she has the jump and the Buster Shot, it's hard to stick that damage on. And the Morgana, of course, going to be buying Azanya's. So it raises the question of who Zed's mid and late game target is going to be as an assassin. I think the answer is nobody, which makes me worried. But, you know, if you're comfortable on the pick, go for it.
I am going to add on to that, I do want to see what the matchup is going to be in this mid lane, right? I want to see how it performs against this Aatrox. That's a very major thing to keep our eyes out on, is how does it perform lane-wise into this Aatrox, and does it become something that can be that side lane threat that we know Zeds to be able to be. My big question is also going to be towards the Varus and what kind of build path we are going to see. We did get to see the Hell of Blades here. So it's not the lethal tempo, which makes me automatically breathe because I'm like, okay, it's not going to be like a Kraken Slayer build or anything like that. But it is going to be curious to keep our eyes on that, as Hell Blades can indicate a couple different variety of builds to go on.
Yeah, and the idea for those of you unfamiliar with Varus is, of course, that he has blight stacks that get applied when he auto attacks with his W scaled, and you can get up to 3 stacks on someone, and then when you hit him with an ability, you proc them for a massive percentage of their health. And recently he was buffed so that detonating blight stacks gives you cooldown refund for each stack you proc, so your basic abilities come back off cooldown quicker if you detonate blight. And the idea of Halo Blades is that you get 3 quick autos, you apply 3 quick stacks of light, then you proc it and get your another rotation of spells very quickly, which makes him very effective with that rune. It's kind of a big part of why he's coming to the meta now, is proccing those stacks, getting that cooldown refund is a huge deal, and you want to try and leverage that and use that in lanes. There's a lot of different builds that capitalize on it. There's AP, lethality, on hit. He can go a lot of different ways. Right now he can get ganked.
Yeah, but check this out. The Medi doesn't have Black Shield or anything. You don't have your team in position.
Yeah,
that
not
was
a great. gank.
Yeah, no, that was insanely sloppy coming out from Maddie, who we've been praising in the past series. Made a very, very careless mistake.
Yeah, and it was just the wave wasn't into position. The Tristana and Nautilus had been pushed back. You saw Prospect and Sleepy getting the worst part of the level 1 fight. So they were level 2 way later. They had almost no priority. Maddie trying to show up to make something happen, but he wasn't even level 3. And he didn't really have that much health. And he's just going to go down. So that is actually a red buff over onto Donbray on this Leona. Not the perfect champion to get that first blood on. You'd much rather have it on Gorica if you could. So not the end of the world for Supernova, but that's a big loss of pressure, a big loss of tempo, and kind of a bad start to the game.
Yeah, don't want to give this over to the bot side. We talked about this quite a bit. This Leona Varus is actually a very, very strong lane, which is why people do pick it up. Its laning phase is actually very hard for anybody difficult. Like, look at that amount of poke that he's able to lay in there with his abilities there. And you can see Strumpus getting ganked here. No harpoons to connect. A good flash coming out from Strumpus to avoid anything else catastrophic. Morgana's waiting in the wings.
Yeah, and that's flash burn, so of course, once again, it's always the look for the repeat gank. Top lane, you're going to have to be looking a little careful. Eclipse taking a very bad trade there.
That will happen quite a bit, too, with Aurelia. It's a very strong champion. And you can see Morgana's just trying to focus on farming up, though, man. Now, like, after having, like, a really rough, like, early gank like that, want to just, you know, try and make a humble recovery, get back up on your feet here. And the Rumble really hasn't been able to really punish anything and pursue it. I like the fact that Morgana went back after dying and said, all right, now I buy a Dark Seal.
That was just the int 1 kill to give opponents false hope. Maybe build a shutdown up onto this Leona so that you can take it away later. It's an investment, you can argue. You're just making sure that you can get your gold back later. Sink it in, get a dividend on that. Definitely not actually the intent there.
Could be.
Yeah,
I'm here to buy into the madness, all right?
That's a bold strategy. I'm looking at all chat. We have Donbray accidentally giving summoner timers in all chat, so everyone knows when Strampus flash is back up, and you don't get to see that on the stream, but just in case you're curious.
You love to see
9 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, like inside the amateur scene, there's just so much like character and whatnot. A lot of these players do know each other and whatnot. They might have grudges. They might think one player is just terrible, but they also have like people that they just meet around and they talk with. They kind of talk about like what they think is good and whatnot. And it's always good to see a little bit of back and forth inside the chat. So every now and then, love the status report. I'm gonna be expecting more here, but as we go forward. Are seeing some buys coming out here. We saw that this was looking at possibly getting those cooldown boots, but decided against it once that serrated dirt, wanting to lay in some damage onto Strumpus in the mid.
Yeah, we also see the Varus probably going the same way. There's still possibility he's doing something weird, but that's probably Durkin. Here's a gank bot.
Oh, yep. Beautiful anchor toss there, though. Completely null and void the gank. Make it to where you only lose your HP instead of your life. Nautilus will take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and getting out without even having to burn flash is fantastic for this bot lane. Means they don't have to play quite as respectfully. They were already losing some pressure. They're actually down. Well, it's 15 CS. It'll be a lot less than that once Sleepy picks up this wave. But you don't really want to have to forfeit more pressure due to blowing a summoner spell. So it's really clutch that they were able to get out of that gank for nothing. It's a good idea from Infectrix. I still want to see him go back mid lane while Strampus Flash is not available. But
the ganks aren't done, buddy. Like, look at this. We got
a
a Zed in tow. And we are here for it. We're level 6. Let's get it. TP coming out. Says, no, we're not playing this game. You are not diving my Tristana.
Yeah, you see Supernova, you've committed the TP. TSM really smart with that, is they show up, they look like they're threatening a dive, and as soon as the TP starts channeling, they say, we can't do this anymore. They take the summoner spell, and they're happy with that. They get a win. It's not a huge one, but being up a summoner is a big deal. Forcing the Irelia to go all the way from top to bot with TP, and then just trudge her way back up. Not good for that Irelia. Going to generate a lead for Eclipse in the top lane on this Nart. Going to put Cozy a little further behind. So a play on bot puts top ahead.
Oh, here we go. Xenoblade going in deep. Is going to be able to lay a lot of damage on the Sleepy. While this is all happening in the mid side, Strumpus pops the World Ender. We got the Death Mark coming out. Those are trying to have some fancy footwork, but Cozy Shroud is there to catch him on the side. Fetrus has to back away now, and it's going to be a nice kill over to Supernova.
Yeah, and that's just a good play. Cozy was there to clean up Docs. The damage was there. You're just engaged on the bot lane. No.
Here's the thing. This Varus hit 6. I think somebody dies.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. No, Sleepy and Pop Chow are just going to have to leave. They cannot afford to
They're
stick
not
around.
leaving.
Oh, no, but the Rumble's coming. There's Doom
Like,
on the
all it
horizon.
takes is one. Look, it
And
hit
there
him.
it is.
Okay, it didn't get the kill onto him, but they're turning their attention over to Nautilus, so that's going to be an easy pickup for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just
Woo!
kind of what we expected. And Sleepy is still super low. Sleepy's staying around. You see Maddie and Infectrix scrapping it out in the jungle. Maddie keeping this Tristana alive, but that's just a greedy play from the Supernova bot lane. They're super low. The Varus pings 6 first. They know that they can't be there. They know that Chain of Corruption is going to be death. It's actually a fantastic play from Sleepy on the Trist to channel that jump right as the Chain of Corruption connects, so that the Trist is way out of harm's way by the time it's actually CCing her, but it's still just not enough. That's too much health advantage, too much XP advantage. Gives them a kill, and they're fortunate that that was all it was, I think, Supernova. They should be happy that they only lost 1 kill for that much greed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Greed equals speed. It's a mantra you have to live by sometimes, man. And Nautilus is over here inside the mid lane now. Said, all right, I died in bot side. Time to come up mid. Try to see what he can have happen against this Zed. As Leona's here and waiting on the side here. Could be interesting. Going to see a little bit of a scuffle over here onto the side. Finding to connect as well. But there's going to be an equalizer burning them alive. It's going to be Nautilus getting taken down. Depth charge will be there to be able to CC up this Zed, but it's not going to be anything else as the World Ender has been popped, but not going to be able to get that extra bit of damage needed. Now we got a Soul Flare coming on through, but the Black Shield's going to be able to block out the sun, and that is going to be just 1 kill going over to the side of TSM Amateur.
Corrected Cam trolling us a little and cutting up the top lane. I wanted to see how that mid play finished up. Doxa able to get to safety, though. Very big deal. And that's a play where, I mean, you're sending your Nautilus up, but he's just not that tanky. And when he wastes his Aftershock on that line onto the Leona, as soon as that Aftershock resistances wear off, Doxa takes advantage of it, goes in and says, you're a support Nautilus, you don't have your Keystone anymore, I can kill you. And he does. The Nautilus pops, Prosperous Cat goes down, they get the kill. With that pressure, they get the Dragon. And TSM now out to a relatively comfortable lead.
I'm gonna be honest, this Nautilus is not having a fun time either, man. Like this is something to highlight. 0 and 2 currently on the tanky boy, and is not really having a great time. Is getting caught out of position and just small errors costing him his life. And oh god, is it gonna be another one? The Chains of Corruption leave you so much damage. While over into the top side, Shroud's gonna be able to find the kill over onto the Gnar, and god, that damage.
Yes, that is
so crippling.
Triple Blight stack, WQ from Varus, just doing all of the damage in the world. Gonna force Sleepy to go back again. The upside for Supernova, they get a trade on the top side. The kills go onto a better target for them. It was the Leona that got the kill in the bot lane again. Cozy getting the kill in the top lane. Big trade of 1 for 1, and it would be a winning play for Supernova, if not for the fact that Gorica and Donbray have this pressure in bot lane. They're shoving waves, they're denying farm, they're getting plates, whereas Cozy just had to go back. So still a big win for TSM, a good 2v2 kill from them in the bot lane. And in the meanwhile, you see Infectrix just going ahead and taking the Herald.
Yeah, TSM Amateur doing a great job for themselves here. Well, like you said, taking the Herald, seeing what they'll be able to secure with the rest of their advantages they've currently got. It's not a huge lead, though. Only about a 1k differential between these two teams. And we are seeing the majority of the gold is on this Zed and the Varus at this current moment in time. And they're both going lethality, so we'll be looking to see what the itemization options will be. Oh gosh. Oh, I've seen how this turns out. I've seen this way too many times. Prosperous Cat, no! They're jumping onto him, laying out the damage. It looks like Sleepy's trying to find a way to trade the kill back, but there's no hope for that. That's a double kill for the Varus.
Yeah, and the only unfortunate thing for TSM is that they end up burning the teleport to get in there. It was Eclipse that teleported all the way down, and just in case that fight didn't go well, of course they did win the 2v2. They got the double kill. It was a really good bushwhack from them. They knew they had it. They knew their strength. It worked out for them. And Sleepy just not quite able to get the damage down onto Gorica to try and make it a trade. So TSM now growing that gold lead. It's about 2K at this point. This Varus becoming a problem. But as you pointed out, there's a lot of lethality coming in for TSM, which means that Supernova could possibly adapt with some armor. You already see the plated steel caps on Strompus. You might want to get those on, well, actually, the Nautilus has Merc Treads, which I just don't agree with, but...
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, he has been getting CC locked to death, all right? Usually he's the one doing it, but this time around, he's finding himself in a world of misery with the CC, so I guess I can kind of see it on that end of the spectrum, but it's been a very, very interesting time here, but something key to take note of is we haven't seen an actual, like, team fight, and I feel like that's where Supernova's composition does come online in comparison, right? Their team fight accessibility is actually pretty freaking good.
Yeah, if they can find picks, if they can find kills, if
oh no,
they
Nautilus found his edge. He's looking
Yeah.
for him, but this might actually be a good kill for them. Not going to be able to secure it. He lives on 1 HP yet again. Second time in the game where we've seen
he's
his
recalling
head
on
be
a
able to
ward,
live.
though.
He is going to be able to be spotted out. The Solar Flare
Sleepy,
coming
no.
out. The Black Shield comes out late, but Cozy Shroud is over here onto the side. Going to be able to pick him up off the side of that. Now they're going to look to turn this around onto the Leona, trying to lay out some damage onto Donbray. Donbray is going to be able to lay out the CC onto Sleepy. It's going to be a kill that gets traded on over. Strompus finding that. And so they're going to be able to also find the Rumble. While this all happens, Tristana died on the side there.
Yeah, the Equalizer came down on top of Sleepy. The Tristana did not have nearly enough health to live that, but that's a great play from Supernova. And they know because Eclipse, it was on that play bot lane where Eclipse teleported into the 2v2 a little late, didn't get anything. They knew that they had the TP advantage. They knew that they could have an extra person in that bot lane fight. And Supernova take full advantage of that. They send their entire team down. They get themselves the kills. They get themselves on the board. Cozy cleaning up that fight, now at 4-0-1 on the Irelia. And I think at this point, it's kind of a battle. You've got Cozy on one side, Gorica on the other. These two have been picking up kills left, right, and center. It's who can win among the two of them. And I mean, Irelia kind of wins that 1v1 pretty hard.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody's going to contest that. A poor little immobile Varus versus one fed Aurelia. Yeah, the Aurelia is just going to step on you, buddy. I'm sorry. Like, it's nothing you can say about that. Cozy Shroud is looking very, very comfortable up there. Has the Blade of Ruin King. Has those, as I'm going to continue calling them, Ninja Tabby already equipped. So it's
Understandable.
a lot there. And, you know, you're looking at this Nautilus able to roam around now, is over here into the top side. While on the opposite side of the things, Zed is putting on pressure onto this bot lane.
Yeah, and you see Supernova struggling to deal with the pressure a little bit here. There's damage on this mid turret. There's pressure on the bot lane. No one's catching that wave down there, which is really, really bad. That's missing out on farm. That's missing out on experience. You basically never want to let that happen if you can avoid it. You also see them giving over a Mountain Dragon. We don't even get a look at it because Infectrix just took it by himself. No one there to show up and contest. It's mid-turret looking like it's going to fall. It's going to be a trade on the top, perhaps, but TSM really leveraging their pressure, leveraging the poke from this Varus to make things happen.
Absolutely, man. You know, you got to keep an eye out still. This Varus has a big bounty on his head, right? He's got 300 gold on his head. That's a sizable amount. Getting that onto any of the carries will be very, very nice for the side of Supernova. So you got to, you know, this immobile carry got to target.
Yeah, and what I was trying to hint at earlier as well is that there's not a ton of heal from TSM. Donbray can sit on top of Gorica, and if Donbray saves his cooldown...
Oh! What a beautiful flash anchor toss. They're going to be able to CC him out. The binding connects. He goes down. The Morgana finds the kill. The Leona is trying to see if she can find an angle to re-engage, but it's a little bit too far. Nobody else can help him out, and that is going to be Supernova finding 2 kills in quick succession in the mid lane.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Travesty, there's not a lot of heal for the Varus, and if he eats a skill shot or any kind of ability from someone, Leona only has so much lockdown, and if there's 2 people diving on, 3 people diving on, Dombray's just not going to keep that Varus alive. It's where something like an Enchanter might make a difference. You give him more health, you give him the chance to reposition, he can keep himself alive. Leona doesn't have that opportunity, especially when a lot of the time she has to use it to engage. If she's going in, there's no one sitting back with Gorica. Supernova know that very well. Prosperous Cat finds a fantastic dredge line onto Gorica. The follow-up is there. Maddie connects with the binding. Cozy connects with some damage. They get that shutdown. They get a lot of pressure back, and suddenly this gold lead has shrunk back down to less than 1,000.
Yes, and it's becoming a very scary thing for the side of TSM Amateur here because it doesn't like. So one of the big things I had issues with TSM Academy when we were watching their stint inside the Proving Grounds was like they were all mechanically like really solid players, but their sense of macro would fall off, right? Like they didn't have a sense of how they wanted to move around the map and like continue to press their advantages. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of some shades of that, right? They had a pretty sizable lead for themselves here, and they're kind of getting caught out of different positions, and they're giving Supernova opportunities to claw their way back. The gold lead was very much so a large one, and now it's back to being just 1K differential. So, gotta keep our eyes on this TSM amateur roster as they don't want to repeat the mistakes of their predecessor.
Yeah, and you see it's the Herald is up. These teams kind of looked like they were posturing around it, maybe wanted to take a fight. TSM instead opting to try and get some pressure mid. They're going to get, a third of that turret's health. That's not nothing, but they surrendered their pressure in the river. They've given up the vision onto the Rift Herald. You see Shroud coming in with a flank. This could be dangerous for TSM.
Look at this. It's not even the Shroud you need to worry about. It's Strumpus coming in. Cozy Shroud's going to go unstoppable. Find one kill. Going to look for two. It's going to be Infectious. That's now the Nets target. And while everybody else on TSM Amateur is just splitting away, Supernova will find all the kills to play with.
Yeah, and that's just a bit of an overpush from them. They had position in the river, they had control over the Rift Herald, and they chose to back away, go down mid, but their side lane pressure just wasn't really there yet. You see Doxa in top lane, he doesn't even get the top turret for that. You do get a bot turret on this Gnar, but trading it for 3 kills and a Herald is not worth it even a little bit. And it's a good collapse from Supernova. They saw the flank, they knew they had it. Strumpus took the engage knowing that Cozy was nearby to follow up on it, and they just wiped the floor. That fight wasn't even close. It was a 5-on-3, and Supernova take the lead, they take the Herald, and they're going to start taking control of this game if TSM keep making plays like that.
Something to take note of too is the fact that because this is a newer team, right? This is a composition. We're seeing them doing these 1-3-1s. This is something that takes a lot of coordination, a lot of practice, a lot of teamwork, and a lot of synergy to be able to pull off effectively. And we're kind of seeing, you're seeing like, oh yeah, you're getting the rewards, but usually in these 1-3-1 scenarios, the perfect ideal world is, you don't give up anything. And right now, every time they go to these split push situations, they're losing out more and more so. The gold lead is becoming more and more in favor of Supernova. And now you got a 6-0-3 Aurelia. I don't think this is what you wanted here. You look at this. They forced the TP from this Gnar. His Mega is gone. It's just a little tired mini Gnar. That is just one of the worst possible things that could possibly happen off a TP with that. You can even see they were ready to fight.
Yeah, and here comes Ocean Dragon. It's up. TSM wants it. They're playing towards this Soul win con. They have the position. It's Cozy with the Aurelia ult coming up very shortly. Not there yet. Likely what Supernova is waiting for, but they're the stronger team in a 5v5, especially when there's a mini Gnar, and they should be looking to wrestle control for this.
Yeah, you see here, he's trying to build up his rage over here onto the side here. But where you're going to see Herald get summoned down, it's going to be going down into the bot side. There's going to be pressure put onto this tower here at this current point in time. We're seeing TSM Amateur wrestling back this, but is it enough? You got Zed waiting in the wings, but yeah, nobody's over there on that side at this current moment in time.
Yeah, and Eclipse has gone mega, did not manage the rage correctly. What you want to do on Gnar in these kind of fight scenarios is you want to get yourself up to 90 rage or so
mid tower
and sit there. And he didn't do that. Now he's just dead.
Yeah, he's just dead. He's an exhausted little baby Gnar putting down for nap time here, man. And that's going to be a tower secured by TSM Amateur. But they give up a dragon. They give up Gnar just to grab another tower. And we're seeing this be a trend. They grab one tower, but they have to sacrifice to be able to achieve this.
Yeah, and I disagree with it so much. I mean, if they're going to go Baron, they had the opportunity to consider that, but they're not going to. They're not going to try and take an objective. They're just trading turret for dragon, and they're losing their bot side. They're losing pressure on these bot side waves. Strumpus was able to pick up the mid. I'm confused, Travesty. I don't understand what TSM's approach here is. I don't understand their mentality. I don't know what they're going for. They had the Mega Gnar. They didn't fight. They didn't go for an engage. They left. They lost their Gnar. It's puzzling.
Yeah, and like I said before, like this is an issue that I personally have seen from Casting Academy, from Casting Proving Grounds. This is something that the TSM Academy roster kind of suffered with. Is they had this issue where they could do mechanically really good things. Their early game was actually really insanely good. They always had trouble when it came down to moving around the map as a unit. And it feels like this roster is kind of having a little bit of the same issues that we saw from the TSM Academy roster, where they are having trouble moving together as a uniform unit. They're having trouble communicating timings and, communicating when they want to do what. And this is the Baron start actually coming out from the side of Supernova. You see they are looking to collapse on this. The equalizer has been used. This is the moment for them to disengage this. Gnar's going to be mini for this fight.
Yeah, it looks like the equalizer did enough damage to force Supernova off. They didn't want to stay on the Baron with health bars quite that low. Respectful play from them. I think it's the right call, but I mean, it's a good try, right? They were fishing for it, seeing maybe we can get a free Baron, maybe TSM won't react. Of course, TSM does react. They do show up. They do stop that, but it costs Supernova nothing. And what's TSM up to? What are they doing? What are they pressuring right now? It's just... We're kind of nay-ramming it at this point, Travisy. We got so many people in mid lane just standing around.
Yeah, Cozy is looking to be in a situation. He's trying to see if he'll be able to catch out the Zed. Has the death mark on him, but it's just used that way he can buy some time. He's trying to just dance his way around it, buy time for the rest of the team to come in and flash Xenoblade to come on through, but the Solar Flare not going to be able to connect onto anybody. It is going to be them now looking to collapse onto the Aurelia. Yet again, the CC is unsurmountable, but those Golden is just buying so much time and did so much damage there. Trumpus jumped into the midst of it all, but now it's going to be Sleepy Links looking to put on the janitor costume, looking to see what kind of damage he'll be able to do. Over here onto the backside, you got Eclipse. He's getting jumped onto. The damage is there as well. And it's now the Leona just going way too far. There's nobody else to help you. There's no cooldowns to be able to support this. Trumpus finds a killing spree for himself, and this over-aggression is costing TSM so badly here. He just disengaged. Why is Tussa sitting here?
Yeah, and it's a weird fight. They looked like they had a pick onto Cozy, so TSM chased that. They want to go for it.
Why is he standing here? No, he's just going to get buster shot and deleted. He got assassinated by the AD carry.
You hate to see that when you lock in an assassin and get assassinated by the person you're supposed to be assassinating. Say that 5 times fast. Again, Travisy, I'm puzzled. I mean, the attempted a pick onto Cozy wasn't a horrible idea. You're thinking we can get this Irelia. You're not expecting her to have a stopwatch. You're not expecting her to live quite as long as that. You're not expecting Supernova to come in on the backside. They did get there a little late. It did start off by looking good, but then as soon as the Trish shows up, as soon as the Aatrox shows up, these two are so strong. And Maddie gets a really nice flash Soul Shackles. It's unfortunate there wasn't a follow-up, but it still works out for Supernova. They end up on top in kills, and they're just punishing TSM for their aggression in a really clean way.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say, like, they're not expecting it. They just did the same thing that they did, right? Like, they showed up to help out their Zed up there in the top side, and then they're like, wait, you did what we did? You came to help out a teammate? How dare? Like, it's definitely something you got to keep mindful, though. If you're thinking it, your opponent's probably thinking it too, right? Like, it is definitely, like, a common practice to think about the situations this way. And now we have Dragon coming up. Baron is up. There's all sorts of different plays that can go on across the map. Nobody's at Soul Point. So you're in this interesting dilemma here.
Well, and I want to bring attention to the team fight now for TSM it's bad and getting worse. We have a stopwatch on Strompus. We have a stopwatch on Sleepy. The Irelia can't get killed by Zed ever. There's a Zanya's on the Morgana, and Nautilus, of course, is a tank. He has a locket. And that means that in a team fight, Doxa is just depressed. There's no one Doxa can kill. He just doesn't have a target. He doesn't have anyone to go on. He basically has to sit back and wait and try and play cleanup duty. And that's really hard.
I'll be honest, if Supernova goes to any objective, I think they just handshake. Yeah, this is just a simple handshake here. Like, I don't think they want the smoke.
It looks like, well, they're going to get the Dragon. The Baron isn't super fast for Supernova, so TSM can run over. They might not be able to stop it.
The Meganar's almost gone again.
They might be able to at least try and take a fight on the backside. Maybe? No, they're not even. They're just sitting in mid lane. Travisy, they just went mid and pushed a wave instead of doing anything about the Baron.
They don't have any tools, so, I mean, yet again, we see the Gnar coming over, and he's Mega Gnar about to go mini. Like, Eclipse is not having a great time managing his rage inside this little tiny Yordle. And it's showing inside of this game here. He's not having a great time. He hasn't been able to find any of the big Gnar ultimates. And this is becoming a bit of a concern here because a lot of the champions on TSM Amateurs team composition, you want to see them doing stuff inside this mid game. You want to see the Zed popping off in the mid game. You want to see the Varus popping off in the mid game. You want to see the Rumble popping off in the mid game. They're at that point where we're getting into the later part of the game, and it starts getting really scary when you start looking across the way at a Tristana and at an Aurelia, especially a 6-1 and 4 Aurelia with so much gold sitting in their bank.
Yeah, and I think this is a great lesson in Gnar rage management. The idea is you don't want to hit things once you're ticking up above 90 rage. Once you get there, you just stop and you let your rage sit, and it will stay there for a while. Eventually it starts decaying, and all you have to do is auto attack one thing one time to stop the decay, and it will build right back up again. So once it starts decaying down below 85, you can go find a minion, find a jungle camp, auto attack it once, and then run away, and your rage stays right where it is. Then when it's time for a team fight to break out, all you have to do, you throw your boomerang, you leap in, you hit Mega right when you need to. You can make that engage happen. That's the kind of thing that players at this level should know, and we just haven't seen it this game.
Sleepy, it took a heaping amount of damage there. They're looking to capitalize onto it too. Strumpus is caught out of position. The Death Mark, the Solar Flare is going to be there. They're also going to be able to find the damage onto the Tristana. Tristana is gone away. The World Ender was popped by Strumpus. He's going to be able to pop it. He's going to be coming back to life here. Has that GA. Is going to be able to re-engage the fight with Cozy and crew as Matty is going to be able to find a kill, make it 2. And that is just going to be them turning around the action yet again. TSM find 1. While Supernova find 2.
Yeah, and you see the Aatrox itemization paying off massively in that fight. TSM thought they had Strumpus. They spent so much time, so much damage, invested so much into trying to kill him. But then the Sterex shield came online. The GA came right after. They did get the kill on the Sleepy, but that was all they could get. It loses them a couple kills. It loses them their mid-inner turret. And this is one of the things about their playstyle that they went for earlier, is that when you trade objectives or trade kills for turrets, you keep the gold even, but there's much more standing gold on your side of the map. So that if you start losing control, the enemy team takes all your structures, takes all your turrets, and they can get back into the action very, very quickly because there's only so many turrets to take. When you take all of them first, your opponents take all of them second, you were even at first. Once they've taken your turrets, they get the lead, and you see that with Supernova up 6,000 gold. Now, that's not to say there isn't a win con here. TSM can't get an Ocean Drake. These fights are going slow. An Ocean Soul would give them hope. It would give them a chance. Just having that sustain in these long, drawn-out fights would give them more than a fighting chance. And they're going to have 3 chances to go for it here. Supernova going to have to pick up 3 dragons in a row to avoid giving up that soul. And I think we need to start paying attention to that. You see it coming up in a minute 20, and that is the objective for TSM. Go for the Miracle Steal, go for Pix before it comes up. They need to be trying to get this dragon if they can.
And the big thing too for me here is I do want to identify something for TSM that is a positive for them. They did show like what their composition would like to do in an ideal situation, right? The Varus lands a couple bits of poke onto a squishy member, and the Zed executes. The problem is they have to find more of those moments. They need this Varus to continue laying out this poke. You do see this Varus is hurting when hitting key members of the team like this Tristana. The problem is you have to consecutively hit this Tristana. Have to hit it twice, and then it's within insta-kill range for the Zed. And I think that's kind of what the strategies they have to play by is. Hit and run. And like you said, maybe that hit and run allows you to get that Drake. Maybe it allows you to get Soul. Maybe it allows you to get Baron buff one of these times where you hit a hit and run. Hit and run strategies are very much so something that they're adopting after seeing like these split push strategies are not being the most effective for them.
Yeah, and you see TSM is on the top side of the map.
Ooh.
Supernova has the pressure in bot. Here comes the teleport from the Gnar. Eclipse showing up to the fight, but he's a mile away and his rage is running out fast.
Yeah, he's not in a position to be able to do anything. That's also in partial fact that there is no flank wards for them. So if they wanted to start that fight, there was no purpose to it. Now this is going to be an Ocean Drake, and they're not even going to try and commit to it. They're just looking to just try and shove in some waves. And look at what Strumpus is doing. This is beautiful.
And I mean, I'm so... This is like the 3rd time TSM has made this choice in this game, where there's a big objective. In theory, they want to contest it. The Ocean Soul is a clear win condition for them, and they're going to have to try something at some point. And rather than try something, they say, actually, we don't want that. We'll just take top turret instead. And they have waves denied in mid and bot. They lose their bot side jungle. You see the blue buff is going to be going over to Cozy. And it costs them a lot. The turret gives them gold, but losing your entire jungle, losing your buff, losing some waves on the other side of the map means that they're not even going up in gold and they're losing the neutral objective. It's just a losing play every time.
Yeah, they're not really being able to find their stride at this current moment in time. And right now, TSM, they kind of figure out a way to stem the bleeding because the bleeding's getting a little bit worse here. The wound is becoming more and more jagged, and Supernova are looking to exploit that to the best degree that they possibly can. You can see the Zed trying to find an angle around here on the side. Beautiful warding coming out from the side of Supernova to catch out this assassin on the side.
And now we're back to the Nayram.
Yeah,
Binding.
looking like it, but look at this, the repositioning. Tristana pops the rumble, and there's going to be a lot of damage getting traded on back. Morgana gets taken away, but Cozy is here, and he's here to just take names. Going to be able to find the Varus, find the Leona. Isn't going to have to worry about Eclipse. Leave that in a Sleepy. He's going to be able to lay out the damage. The bomb ticks away, and that is going to be them finding the kill. It's just going to be Zed left alive to try and solo defend this. It's going to be able to find a kill. Has some fancy footwork, but the stopwatch is there. It's going to be able to find a double kill.
Gotcha.
Beautiful work on the Zed. Finding two is going to be able to keep this team from losing too much, but they will still lose an inhibitor.
And that's an amazing play from Doxa to clean up what could have been an unmitigated disaster. Had he not gotten those kills, had he not made that happen, this would have been more than an inhibitor. This would have been an inhibitor and the probable Baron. Instead, you see, he's actually going to get a couple kills. Now it's a bit of an overstay from Straubus and Cozy. They need to run away, and Vectric's trying to, whoa, that Aurelia damage.
Yeah. I was about to say, no, this is a bait at this point in time.
Whoa.
Don't go in here. Aurelia's got her passive ready to go. It is not the time to fight here. But yeah, no, I mean, that was incredible what we just witnessed there. And that's why they locked in the Zed. That's why he's so confident on the champion. The problem is, and this has always been the problem with Zed inside of competitive, is he was not able to do that at the beginning of the fight. He had to wait for HP bars to be brought down to lay out this fancy footwork, to lay out the fancy moves, and make sure he was able to have that highlight reel moment, right? But it's not on the edge of them winning.
It's too little too late every time. It's his team is just not strong enough in a team fight without him going in at the start. And he can't. He has to wait. And it's the start of the fight was Infectrix going down. The trade was on to Maddie. He was falling before the Zanyas came on. Maddie has double stopwatch, by the way. That's going to be really funny if that becomes relevant. But
I was about to say, am I seeing double watch?
But I mean, yeah,
like
it's
I
just
like
a great
it.
fight. And I said at the start, I think the team that finds the engage is likely going to be the one that wins the fights a lot of the time. And we had both teams just sitting in mid. TSM was a little less ready for the fight than Supernova was. The Dark Binding connected onto Infectrix, and that was kind of all she wrote. And the Rumble goes down that early, that hard, then it's very hard to win a fight. Gorica got dove onto by Cozy, and like we said before, there's just no peel for this Varus. If the Aurelia wants to go kill that Varus, the Aurelia is going to get to kill that Varus.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. That's just exactly what it feels like, right? The Aurelia does as Aurelia pleases. And is a 10-1-6 Aurelia that's saying that? Yes, of course. Whatever you want, Aurelia. Almost Flame Horizoning, Eclipse over there in the top side. Like, it's you've hit so many of the major points in TSM Amateur. They're trying to figure out exactly what their way is, and they're kind of going back to, all right, well, our Zed is very strong, our Zed is very skilled, so how do we make this team composition work with it? And the problem is they don't have much in the way of wave clear, and there's a Baron buff here, so they're just going to barrel this Baron buff into their base, and they don't have anything they can really say about it.
And you can't team fight because there's no good team fight targets. You can't split push because split pushing into Cozy is signing up to die. You can't really wave clear that well. It's a catch-22 for TSM at this point. They've gotten themselves into a hole that's very, very hard to come out with. The best they can do is try and look for mistakes, try and look for over-aggression from Supernova. They need to play reactively, wait for someone to mess up, to push too far forward, to put themselves in a dangerous position, and then capitalize on that.
But I'll be honest, that's the worst kind of League of Legends to play, in my opinion. You don't want to be that team that's reactive. It's also bad on your morale, right? You're just sitting around waiting for the other team to do something and hoping it's the wrong thing. So they're definitely, they have to, react, but at the same time, they gotta be looking for where they can force proactivity in the right moments. And I'll be honest, right now with an almost 10K difference in gold, it's very dire for the side of TSM Amateur. Supernova have just cleaned up what was a rough early game into an excellent late game. Lighted arrow coming through onto Strumpus, but nothing else to follow. And they say we'll re-engage this. It's going to be the Leona that gets taken out by Strumpus. And that Strumpus on a rampage, looking absolutely unkillable. Cozy's over here inside the back line, looking to lay in some damage, but they're just pushing in these minion waves like it's nobody's business. The arrows are coming through, but it's not enough damage to keep them off. The Rumble trying to find an angle to get into this, but it's not enough still. The towers are falling, and so are the members of TSM. One last defense that they have inside their pocket, but it's not enough as 5 members of Supernova will bear down on the Nexus. And that is going to be game 1 going over to Supernova.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic game from Supernova. Once they started getting control, once they started knocking down turrets, they looked like they were in command. They made the right plays. They got a couple fights in bot lane that brought them back into things. And once Cozy got ahead, they did not look back. They were dominant. They took control of the map. They were down 3 dragons to 1, and then they didn't give one up for the rest of the game. They took a couple barons. They took the base. They took the kills, and they were on top of things. Finally closing out that game. It was a lot longer. It's a lot slower, a lot closer than what we saw in our first best of 3 series. But at the end of the day, I mean, Supernova just very strong in that game. Cozy, an absolute monster.
Yeah, honestly, Cozy, absolute monster. A lot of things went really well for Supernova there. I think the biggest thing we have to highlight is not just the individual performance, but how Supernova performed as a team there, right? Like, this was not them having a fantastic early game. We saw the bot lane was down. The Zed was able to find some very early success. We got to see the Rumble has some very early success. They got the Dragons early on. There was a lot of things that were not looking very Supernova favored, but they found the strength of their composition. They found fights. They decided, hey, instead of these small individual scraps where they're looking so much stronger, let's go for like a 4v4, right? Like, let's scrap as a team. Let's not have these like little 1v1 and 2v2 skirmishes. Let's bring a majority of the team in. And that was when Supernova really looked to come online, and where they were able to force TSM Amateur to really look very uncomfortable inside of these matchups. And, you know, even though we're talking like, oh yeah, there was a lot of good things, if you look at the damage that was actually done inside that game,
Yeah.
Varus did an astronomical amount of damage, and that's just showing again, that's how strong this champion is. And even though the Varus and the Zed were the 2 people who did the most damage inside that game, they still weren't able to close it out because they can't find a way to make that damage translate into actual objectives and whatnot later on to the game, because they're not able to find those definitive team fight wins.
Yeah, and there were just a couple holes in the TSM comp. I really don't want to see a Gnar or Rumble again. I think both these picks fell really flat in this game. The Gnar in particular, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Gnar slam underneath the Nexus turrets was the first time we saw Eclipse slam anyone into a wall with his ultimate.
There was
in
one that
any kind of
happened.
fight.
There was one that happened off camera, up in the top side fight after the rest of his team had died.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
optimal.
I mean, it was what I had said I had a concern with. I saw the Gnar, I see Rumble, and I see the rest of their team comp, and I was just like, that's really, like, you really have to manage your Gnar. The Gnar is actually the key member of this team composition. I'm standing by that after this game. That Gnar actually performed, like with some of those Gnar ultimates. This could have been a completely different game. The team fights could have been astronomically different, because all of a sudden you're locked up against a wall and easy pickings for some easy equalizers. It could be very scary, man.
But it just didn't happen. I think partially credit to Cozy. I mean, when the Irelia gets that far ahead, it's hard to do much, at least in your lane and in your split push as the Gnar. And that kept Eclipse down, at least individually, on the golden items. And then the team fights just didn't work. It didn't seem like TSM were coordinated around the Rage Bar. It seemed like every time they were getting engaged on, the Gnar was mini or running out of his mega very soon. It didn't seem like they played around it. It didn't seem like Eclipse managed it or communicated about it. I just don't think the team was quite ready for that pick, and I don't want to see them go back to it, because it's not going to work, I don't think. Anyway, Travesty, we have a second game. This is a best of 3. That was not all she wrote, so there's more League of Legends yet to be played.
Absolutely is, and I'm excited to see it. We'll have to see if we're gonna have another slugfest of a match. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you don't touch that browser, as we'll be right back.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to the stream. We just got to see Supernova pick up a really nice and clutch victory here inside of game number 1. But this is a best of 3, and we're in for a ride. My name's Travis C. I am joined here by the ever so lovable Cole Slaw. Cole, you ready, man? We are going into game 2, and honestly, looking pretty exciting. We got to see a lot of pros and cons from both sides.
Yeah, and I think those Supernova ended up taking control and dominating the later stages of that game that we saw in game 1. We saw that TSM has some fight. They have the ability to compete, to go head-to-head. This doesn't need to be a one-sided series. They have the individual talent to generate leads, to generate kills, to punish Supernova's mistakes. They just need to find the right formula for it. I think they ended up with a draft that left them kind of at a loss for how to push a lead and convert it into actually winning the game. And if they could do things a little differently the next time around, get some picks that they're more comfortable on, get some picks that work a little better together, then they're going to be sitting pretty, and it's going to be a really interesting chance at a game 2.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we had to say between the two of us was, like, you look over at TSM and their roster, right? They mechanically did pretty good in a lot of their lane matchups, especially in the bot lane and inside the mid role, which are the roles that you and me were both kind of expecting to see very high performances coming out of. And we got to see, like, those little spots and moments, but the draft didn't really support that, right? Even though they were the 2 people who did the most damage in the game in its entirety, the damage, like, their composition didn't allow them to prevail. And I think we got to really keep our eyes on TSM to build a composition that allows for them to have a little bit more urgency or ability to be proactive in these 2 lanes.
Yeah, and if not proactive in the lanes where they struggled a little bit, then at least supportive, right? You can go for picks that are a little more independent, that are a little less carry oriented. Something like a Karma in the top lane, or an Ornn. And in the jungle, you can go for, I mean, if you can pull out the Ivern, I think that would make a lot of sense here, and just put your shields on Gorka and say, here you go, Gorka, go make it happen, buddy.
We're just doing the build, the comp around them. I get you. I'm feeling it. I'm picking up what you're putting down there, but
Gorka had a great game. Gorka was
did.
a monster, and there just wasn't enough from the rest of the members of TSM to kind of capitalize on it. And you could go for different picks to try to make that happen, or you could just try and pump Gorka up even more. If he did 30k damage, if he has like an enchanter with an Ardent Sensor, I bet you he can do 40k damage, and maybe that'll pick up a few more kills.
But Cole, we're already flying through pick and ban here, and
Yeah.
look at this. Ban's already gone through. TSM say, hey, yo, we get Varus again. Congratulations. And on the other side, it's Supernova just saying, oh, hey, Morgana Tristana, welcome back.
Yeah, It would be very interesting if we got a spicy run back. I think TSM has no incentive to go for the spicy run back or the salty run back is what I meant to say. Yeah, there's no way we see it the exact same. I think some things worked for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to Leona again. I don't think there was anything about Varus Leona that needed changing.
The Rumbles, yeah, they grabbed the Rumble here. I
Rumble.
think I'm still
Oh,
fine.
what the?
Lucian, right off the get go. Okay,
Um,
all right, I'm down
blind
for
pick
this.
Lucian mid is an idea that you can go for. Um, I don't love it as much, but it's a choice. You know, he doesn't have any losing lanes. The issue is that he exists in mid lane more to punish some weaker laners. You know, he was invented as a Kassadin counter pick, as a physical damage dealer with range to really destroy him. But there are some lanes that can go just fine up against Illusion, and they don't really suffer that much. And then they have a lot more utility come late game than Illusion mid does, and that can leave him a little on the weaker side. And I just don't think TSM needed to blind pick mid. You know, they could have gone back to Leona, and it wouldn't have caused them any problems. But
Yeah, now that's going
now
to
it's
be
getting
banned.
banned.
Yeah, I think you just. I think this is smart from Supernova. I think you just ban away the supports that work together with Varus to enable it, and I think this is actually really smart on their part to actually just go about it this way. Because the thing is about TSM, they have to draft some form of engage or some form of CC now for themselves, and they have to get it in either their support role or more than likely their top lane role. Uh, Honestly, the Rumble in the jungle wasn't terrible. The equalizers are actually pretty good. It's just that the team couldn't follow up on any of them. So I'm expecting this to be the Rumble in the Jungle. We see the Wukong ban coming out, which makes perfect sense to me. Get rid of some of this AoE CC that is comfortable for TSM. And Alistair's getting taken off the table as well. So we'll have to see. I'm expecting Supernova to just lock in their support here.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think you want to hide your other solo lane. Irelia, still a flex pick, can go to either lane, so they can get the rare double counter pick unless TSM want to go that way. And Karma is a fantastic pickup. I mean, I love that pick here.
It does mean that you are going to be looking at a more squishier team composition currently at the moment. Like, not a lot of beef in your team composition. Does give you guys a lot of shields, though. So I'm
You
gonna
know,
be
if everyone's
curious.
shielded for 600 HP, then you're all tanky and it's fine.
Yeah, you're all semi tanky, right? But there is the fact that Serpent's Fang is readily available for the Varus to pick up. Scion, I'm in love with this pick actually in this team composition at the moment. You need some beef, and there's no man beefier in the top lane than a Scion. So go ahead and snatch that up.
Yeah, and I like Scion here too because it's a little more simple to execute on. There's no rage management. There's no windows of opportunity. He simply goes choo choo and runs at you like a giant big freight train of pain, and that's a little more simple. And that's what TSM need out of their top lane pick. I think they had coordination issues, and a giant big easy to follow go button is a lot easier to coordinate around. And now, you know, if you see them getting ahead, I don't think they're going to have any questions about how they can push their lead. It will be going in, telling Eclipse to press his R and run at them. And that will work. Now, the issue, of course, Scion is a little weaker into Morgana once again because the Black Shield can be put on someone. If you have an Irelia or an Aatrox, what you can do is you can put a Black Shield on them and they can go walk at the Scion and just eat his ultimate. And because he only does physical damage, he can't break the shield, he can't do any CC. Rakan's not going to be able to follow up on it in that way. And it's going to be kind of diffused a little bit. So they're still going to need to play it well.
Now, it will be curious to see like what the assignment is. Something that we haven't talked about at all is there is still the possibility that this could be a flip flop, right? You could see Lucian Varus flip positions.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't really talked about that, even though we're more sure that it's going to be a Lucian mid. It's just where you've seen them more
Yeah, they're
predominantly
not
at.
sending Lucian bot lane, Travis. No way.
Yeah. There's no way, but at the same time, man, I want to see it.
Nah, I think that's no good because
Yeah.
you don't want to send Varus into a solo lane against either an Irelia or an Aatrox. It kind of has
Yeah,
the
I'm
same
with you.
immobile problems where if he ever gets ganked against either of those champions, he explodes.
Listen, I have to entertain the idea. I have to. More so because I want to see AP Varus again. I haven't seen one in so long, but I've only seen it in mid lane so far. I'm just jonesing for it over here, man. But yeah, no, I in terms of like the composition and whatnot, I am going to be looking at how the Lucian plays because one of the biggest issues that I've had, and this is just me yet again putting since we are going, this is the very beginning of proving grounds, and this is something I feel like I always have to put a comparison is like academy and amateur. I feel like they have to be in a scope and kind of have the comparisons drawn between them. One of the things I love about seeing Lucian inside of the amateur scene is usually like the Lucians are very aggressive. They are very lane dominant, very strong. While it's over in academy, we have seen a lot. I saw a lot of Lucians getting picked, and they were played more like a control mage. So I'm hoping that I want to see this aggressive Lucian play come out here that you usually see inside the amateur scene from the side of TSM. We saw him play phenomenal on the Zed. And now I want to see it yet again on the Lucian because this is another champion. Your early to mid game is where your strengths are. And that's where we saw a lot of strengths coming up from Dotson.
Yeah, the nice thing about Lucian is that he doesn't get props for scaling fantastically, but at the end of the day, he does still get to build crit, attack speed, attack damage. Those items or those stats do scale multiplicatively. He is still a late game marksman when he gets there. He's not as good as some other late game marksmen like a Tristana, who can pump out way more damage with the big attack speed steroid, but he's there. He can get through tanks, he can do DPS, and he doesn't fall off quite as hard. And he can also be in team fights a lot more easily than a Zed can. He has that range, he has the ability to skirt around and do damage a little more safely. But yet again, we're staring at two marksmen, two squishy targets, and almost no peel to keep them alive. There's no enchanter. There's no kind of disengage coming out. The Rakan wants to go in. The Scion wants to go in. Rumble only has damage to offer. And that means that once again, if Strumpist or Cozy get ahead on these diving champions, it's just going to be hell for Gorica to deal with. And Doxa can get caught up in that as well. If he eats a bit of CC, he eats a stun, he eats a binding, he eats an Aatrox knockup, he's going to explode right after.
Yeah, and see, I do like the Lucian because of the fact of what you said too. It's like, yeah, this is a champion that can, move forward and follow up with the rest of the team, but it does have to go against Strumpus playing the Aurelia this time around, and is going to be very much so something to watch out for because if the solution does fall off, that even if he goes forward, he's going to be tickling, right? He's not going to be the effective damage dealer you want. You want to see him getting ahead, building the lead, and against an Aurelia, as somebody who does have the ability to jump onto the solution, going to have to manage his dashes very well and make sure he doesn't get caught up by any bindings that may come his way from Maddie on the side. Because once you dash once, that's it. That could be a very big moment to look at for. And yet again, like you said, a composition that looking to go forward, you have a Varus, right? We've talked about this more than once tonight. Varus is very, very immobile and could be a very scary thing, especially since we saw such a killer performance on the Varus last game. It's going to be something to replicate against, yet again, an Aatrox, an Aurelia, a Tristana jumping around the map. I mean, this is the same Supernova comp, just with different players playing different champions, and you got a Karma instead of a Nautilus.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the issue for TSM, especially in this game, is that it's unlikely that they're going to be donated a buff and a kill by a level 2 Morgana from Maddie. It's
again.
It's probably not going to happen 2 games in a row. And that donation put them really far ahead last game. And without that, they're going to have to work a little harder for it. They're going to have to prove themselves capable of getting that lead a second time with a less of a donation. If Maddie can play it a little better, if he doesn't just die, then he'll be a menace in the early game. And I really hate this TSM comp from behind. But, they've picked some champs. They were dominant bot lane early game. They had a fine mid lane early game. And maybe they can make it happen.
Have to see, will TSM be able to bring this back and take the series to a 1-1 score? Or will this be Supernova closing it out 2-0? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out our answer right after this short break. So make sure you don't go anywhere.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are going into game number 2 of this best of 3 Supernova, currently leading in the series here. If you're just now joining us, my name is Travis. I am joined here by the ever so fantastic Coleslaw. And Coleslaw, we are going into this game. We're seeing a standard 5-star. We haven't seen anything spicy too much in the very beginning of these games yet, but it's going to be a very interesting game here. We got a nice little mid-smash of champions, a lot of changes coming out from TSM in this.
Yeah, and I want to point out that we have a Tristana who has adapted. Sleepy decided instead wants to cleanse this game. Varus was very powerful last game. The Chain of Corruption led to a lot of kills in the first 15 minutes. Cleanse can really get out of the way of that and heal on Karma to make sure that there's no issue there. It's a defensive look from this Supernova bot lane, which I like. I think they should be comfortable with their scaling advantage, and wow, this is a perfect, beautiful frame. Everyone just standing still around Strumpus, but nothing happening, and now Donbray kind of in an awkward spot.
Yeah, Donbray is in a bad spot there. And that was them just saying, don't you dare look at our Strumpus like that. This is actually calling for a lot here to come out from the side of Supernova. They've chunked down Rakan. They say, hey, we have the proactivity here. We can contest this.
Yeah, and you actually see 4 of them are here. Matty aggro's the Raptors trying to get the do damage to people. It's an interesting play. And everyone's just kind of standing around, Travesty. We're watching, we're walking back and forth, we're posturing, we're being aggressive. Who needs farm? I guess the top laners do, but other than that.
Hey, listen, man, you just make the chicken dance in your favor here.
They reset.
What is this game? Wait,
we gonna do anything, Travesty? We gotta start a buff. We gotta go to lane. Looks like they're picking up the little chickens now. Matty on a ward. It resets again.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be flashed away. But Dunson's here to play. He's going to be able to lay out the damage. Sleeping Leaks is going to go down. That's going to be first blood as Infectress is done with all of this BS. It's going to be another kill that goes on over. You were talking about gifts. They got the gift that keeps on giving, as that's 2 kills over to the side of TSM.
Yeah, and I don't know what the plan was there, Travesty. I mean, it was kind of cute and adorable, but it fell off and became a really terrible idea when Doxa was able to get that lane prio on Strumpus, use that range advantage, force Strumpus back, and then immediately just turned around and collapsed back onto the fight to get a numbers advantage. And as soon as that happened, it was totally scuffed for Supernova. They end up giving over 2 kills, 1 to Doxa, 1 to Infectrix. We said there might not be gifts at level 2 this game. The gifts just come at level 1 instead. Not very good from Supernova.
There's flashes being blown left and right here.
Yeah.
We just saw Dutsa try to go for a flash play. Now Coach Shroud needs to be careful here. He's taking a good amount of damage. The Sion is no slouch when it comes down to the damage department. Now all of a sudden, you know, Sleepy is in this situation. He needs to catch up on some of this farm as quickly as possible. Cozy's trying to get up some farm for themselves here.
Yeah, Cozy's just probably going to have to take a recall. It's not really a cheater recall because it's a little late, but you can pretend like it is and say it's a good idea. I mean, it's still the right idea because you're going to die to the next Scion E that connects. It's a grass Scion and not a Comet Scion. You sometimes see that on Scion where he maxes E, goes Comet to get just mega poke onto melee champions. Not doing that this game because it's a little cheeky and not so good once you get into later stages of the game, but still working out, generating a bit of a CS lead. Gonna burn teleport to get back to lane, though.
Yeah, wants to go ahead and try and do what he can to this wave as it's pushed in here. You can see this Karma looking to try and lay in the poke. Is going to be successful at doing just that. We'll lay a decent chunk of damage onto him. As you can see, this solution does have a pickaxe already. You see Strumpus actually going in. He needs to be careful. Rumble was coming from the side there, ready to overheat on him.
Yeah, Infectrix was there. Strumpus made the right play, got the heck out of dodge before he could get in trouble. Just taking a trade.
Oh, Donbray, you need to be careful, buddy. The bomb is ticking away. It's going to go boom, and that's going to be all she wrote. While the action goes over into the top side, Cozy's going to be able to find his revenge over against Eclipse. Going to be able to lay out the damage onto him over onto the side. He is dropped down to low HP. The flash is coming out from Strumpus, but we're going to have a Scion ready to punch away from beyond the grave. That's us here laying out some shots. Going to be able to pop off a couple bits of damage onto the rest of the team here. Strumpus is going to be able to re-engage this, looking to try and jump onto the Lucian, but Lucian going to be able to dash out of harm's way. Going to be able to see Cozy trying to fight this one on out. Is going to be able to find that. Is going to be able to find 2! Cozy with the play. Gets the shutdown. And Supernova tie up the kills 4-4 all of a sudden.
I mean, there was a lot to unpack in that fight. I want to mention it first. That was a great plan from TSM.
Oh!
That is the perfect time for Scion passive. It just does so much work in those early skirmishes where there's not enough movement speed, not enough cooldowns to get away from him. And they got the kill. They got the kill onto Maddie. It looked really good. They had, for a moment there, it was kind of a 3-on-2 with the Scion passive. And then it just kind of fell apart. I'm not sure what Doxa was doing. Cozy was just beating up Infectrix, and Doxa ran away. He could have been hitting that Aatrox. The Aatrox cannot hit both the Lucian and the Rumble at the same time. He can only hit one champion. He doesn't have big enough AoE, and Doxa can stand far enough away from Infectrix to help out. He just chose not to, and he only runs back in once the Rumble is already dead, and just donates a second kill over to Cozy. And now it's a top lane snowball happening yet again. Cozy already up to 2 kills. And he's going to be a monster. This is a problem. Eclipse on the Scion going to be behind, and that's a tough lane for Scion if the Aatrox gets a lead like this.
I love the fact he's also still holding his TP, still after all this time, looking good. And you heard me make that exclamation earlier. I thought that was a kill, and then I realized the Rakan had exhaust, so I just silently went, oh, to myself, because he had Ignite. You would have saw a kill there onto the Karma, the revenge supportal kill. But, yeah, man, I mean, that was a really good pick for them to be able to find, and now you were talking about it already. Aatrox is looking pretty good, but somebody else to talk about, right? The Lucian Aurelia, they both got money inside their pocket from that little bit of a skirmish. Only 100 gold advantage in favor of the Lucian after all of that madness that happened in the top side. So both of these mid laners became very strong equally at the same time, and we have to continue to keep our eyes on that because the Lucian wants to try and stay ahead of the Aurelia as much as possible.
Yeah, and when you see both of these mid laners accelerated, it's kind of a question of who can push the lead. Oh boy, that's not good.
Yeah, the stun is going to be able to connect. The dash came out a little bit late. It's going to be looking to kite this out. The Colin coming on in is going to be able to lay out a good amount of damage. It might
Here
be the
comes
reason that
Sion.
you're looking for it. Sion's going to be looking. He's screaming cowards at the top of his lung, but it's going to be Cozy that's going to be able to rejoin this fray and say, hey, what's up, buddy? You're going to get locked up, taken on out, and it's Eclipse going down to Cozy yet again. While over into the bot side, it's going to be Gorka. Going to go ahead and get jumped onto. That's going to be a Goomba Stomp to end him down. Ombre now is a troublesome situation, taking a lot of damage, but will be able to limp away from this bot lane fight.
Yeah, and it's a good idea from Eclipse. Gonna try and come mid, gonna try and punish the over-aggression. Maddie and Strumpist did not get the kill they were looking for onto Dox. They burned a lot of cooldowns and took a lot of damage for it. And you're thinking if you're TSM, maybe we can make this happen, but Eclipse just not quite there in time. And
oh, wait. Infectress, didn't you see what happened last time somebody did this? You don't have the damage to back you up here. Sleepy's over here onto the side. Put the bomb on him, seal his fate. He's going to be able to find a double kill with Sleepy. Link find his pop-off moment in the bot lane.
And that's such a good play by Sleepy. There are times as a marksman where it's correct to flash forwards, and he found one of those times. He found the opportunity, he found the chance, he took it. Getting out of that Rakan knock-up, we're gonna cut away. I wondered if that Varus Q missed. Oh, it just fires off. But just not a good gank from Infectrix. The health wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite, they weren't quite strong enough. You have a Rakan support, you're a Rumble, only one of you is doing damage, you're against Tristana and a Karma that are perfectly healthy. So they lose that fight, they lose another kill, and this is starting to look bad for TSM. In any case, we're going to have to cut to a quick break while we resync after a pause. These things can kind of cause a little bit of staggering, so we'll be back in just a moment here.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again.
All right, and we are back. And sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. The Spectate client, as my co-caster said, if you do not resync up on the Spectate client, you will desync from each other. So to avoid that, to make it sound like we're not just stepping all over each other, have to resync back up. And
I mean, who
we're back
doesn't
into
love
this.
play-by-play commentary, either 2 seconds in the future or 2 seconds in the past, Travesty? I know I love it.
Dude, honestly, I see it happen sometimes, and I'm like, man, this is definitely an angle.
Feels bad. You're like, is this play-by-play just really bad at reacting to things, or are
He's
they
just reading the
watching
team
game?
fight, just reading it like a book, baby. Lucian, it's just gonna be very interesting. But back to the game, you know, we're looking at this, and Vetra's trying to see if he can right some wrongs here. He's got the equalizer back up and ready to fire it off, and Strumpus is going to be the target here, going to be able to get a good knock up here. Strumpus is not long for the world. That's just going to be able to pick up that kill on the Lucian.
Yeah, and that was a good bait by TSM. They just kind of sat. Wow.
The damage is not enough
Wait,
to
it's
just
close.
lock him in place. No, it's not. Sleepy Link says, not even close, baby. Going to be able to find that, but now it's going to be Infectress. It's going to look this place spoiler. That little bit of action that he just had, the flamethrower is going to be firing away, and he's going to get smited. And that is going to be a rat down. And now we're going back to the mid lane. The Soul Shackle is here. Dotsa taking a bit of damage with the Colin coming on back. Looking to fire back away, but the shield is there to make sure he's going to be able to stay safe, but not for very long as he's going to get shot through. That's going to be a 1-for-1 inside the mid lane there. As Aurelia TPs down to the bot side. Stromp is trying to pick up some farm and deny anything else from happening. Over in the top lane, yet again, Cozy just laying out the hurt on the Eclipse, please.
And I mean, a lot went okay for TSM there. You saw the good trade from Infectrix back on the bottom lane. They're actually going to take advantage of that. Go ahead, take a Mountain Dragon while Maddie is walking out of base. Also fortunate for Doxek getting the Piercing Light. It went through Papa Chow to kill Maddie. Works out very well, and now they're back on to Strumpus. This one's not going to work out, though.
Yeah, there's none of the pieces were there at that moment. I like the idea, but it's not going to be able to be followed through. So we'll just be Strumpus getting to stay by the tower, waiting to see what else may happen. I like this. They're moving Sleepy Links around. Sleepy is very strong, and you can see getting some plates over there in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it's starting to break down a little bit. You know, the lane assignments are becoming a little more fungible. Strumpus now sitting in bot lane after getting destroyed in that mid lane bait. A little mad about that. Sad that he went in and immediately got collapsed on. And you see the bot lane coming back. You know, it's just, you've got plates still up, so you can't go too cheeky with it, but Supernova flexing around, seeing if they can make something happen. Dragon now down, so it's going to quiet for a little bit, Travesty.
Yeah. You said not enough cheekiness. I say I want to always see maximum cheekiness.
I mean, we could just send Aatrox bot lane and send the bot lane mid lane and the Aurelia top lane and just everyone goes somewhere else. Why not?
I'm just saying all 5 members just duke it out right now. Just go. Like, let's just see the team fight happen right now. Let's see where we're at. Which, honestly, if that happens, I actually don't think TSM want that because there is a Gore Drinker completed onto the Aatrox. So,
Wow. That's
probably
early.
not the person you want to, you know, I don't want to fight with the Aatrox in the near vicinity.
Yeah, Cozy going to be kind of monstrous here. And Dombre in an awkward spot.
Yeah, it's going to be looking to see if somebody will be there to help him out. We'll be able to dodge away from some more of that damage. The heal is popped as well from the Karma. It's going to flash forward with the Tether. It's going to have a nice equalizer to just kind of disengage that. So, wouldn't it be nice to be able to see. Dombre getting caught in a lot of weird positions.
Yeah, and Rakan, of course, has enough mobility, especially with teammates around, to get out of those kinds of situations. Sleepy not even had a completed item yet, so he just wasn't quite able to pump out the damage.
Is
Here's
this
an
the
engage
fight
on the
you
Doxer.
wanted? Is this the fight you wanted? Hello? The calling coming out is going to be Maddie securing the kill, but I don't think Strumpus needed any help.
No, and there was a good flash by Strumpus, too, to get behind that Lucian, get out of the Coling, and be in perfect position to keep hitting him. That was a really well-played engage. Strumpus got the stun and then knew his champion's limits, knew that that was his chance to get that revenge kill. Doesn't actually clean it up for himself. Maddie getting that kill secure, and they're going to knock down this mid turret or get very close to it.
Yeah, they get very close. The quickening was used, trying to see if they'll be able to catch on to Strumpus, though, but the charm does come out. Going to be able to hit the Soul Shackle. It's going to be able to lay a little bit of damage.
Ooh.
Good flank coming out from Eclipse. We're not going to be able to catch out anybody here. The World Ender has been popped. Cozy is looking to do more as the Lucian is gone yet again. Dozo just got back and it's going to get punished yet again. Sleepy is looking to try and see if he'll be able to turn this rocket jump into a Goomba Stop, but it's going to be Kurika being able to come out with the play that comes out on top. It's going to be Karma finishing off the Varus. And all in all, coming out on top for Supernova here.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that Sleepy died for Supernova. You saw Papa Chow running in. He actually pressed R and then wasn't able to use his shield. He was trying to get in and make it happen, but lost his AD carry at the last second. Still a trade of kills there, a better trade of kills in the mid lane. As soon as Cozy showed up, Travesty, that fight was lost. This Aatrox is massive and pumping out ridiculous amounts of damage. And I mean, you saw it. Doxa came in and just went right back, showed up the lane, teleported, and said, oh, I'm dead.
That started with him dying, and then he teleported back in the lane and died again. It was a shame. And cool angle to come out from Eclipse there, right? The Scion coming in from that direction was something that everybody was like, wait a second, where is definitely like there you see TSM is looking for these unique angles to try and start these fights, but yet again Cozy very, very strong over here inside the top side. Fortunately, like you said, Sleepy Links does go down. Items are being completed across the board though, so something big to take note of is we're seeing a lot of these mythics being completed at this current moment in time. We're actually seeing a difference on the Varus build, going for the Prowler's Claw instead of the Dustblade that we saw last.
Yeah, and can I even make sense of Prowler's Claw Varus, Travesty? I'm trying to think about it.
You just get the extra lethality. That's the best way to make sense of it, I think, is every time you build a new item, you get more lethality. Cool.
That's good. We like that. And I mean, if you're in a 1v1 with the enemy Tristana and you dash through her, you get a 30% damage amp. Or you shred 30% more of her armor, and that's kind of good, I guess. That's probably potentially part of why he was able to win that bot lane 1v1 is, but and
here we go. Sleepy said he hasn't had enough of him just yet. We're gonna needs to be careful. Is trying to fire off those arrows, but here they comes, the bane of his existence, the Morgana on a rampage.
Yeah, and it's just rough when you're alone in bot lane as that immobile AD carry. There's very little you can do if the enemy team decides they want to collapse on you. You only have so much utility, especially when the Tristana is trading it.
Sleepy?
Wow.
In a tricky spot there, but is going to find that with HP bars traded. Maddie's going to get jumped onto now. The Soul Shackles are going to be there, and Fettress was able to pick up the kill onto Sleepy Links off screen. But Maddie finds two for themselves so quickly, so swiftly, so easily, and next up is Fettress is going to be the stun to come out, and that's a triple kill going over to Maddie.
Maddie with this Tormented Shadow Man, he is the master of last hitting. I think Leandri's got the kill onto Doxa as he was running away. He's getting kills in these fights left, right, and center. It's just little dots managing to find that last bit of damage. He's got 7 kills now. That is a huge amount. He's so far ahead, sitting on a 10-stack Dark Seal, by the way.
Yeah.
I almost think that's worth upgrading to Medjai's at this point when you're popping off this hard.
I mean, doing phenomenal on this pick, and that's something that we've talked about all night now. Maddie has been very, very solid on this Morgana in the jungle role, and has been piloting it exceptionally well all night long. Has been playing it actually every single game except for one. Played Jin Zhao one game. Did pretty fine inside that game as well. So you gotta give props to Maddie for being just so very consistent on this squad, but also Cozy. Again, on this Aatrox, gotta look at this person yet again, is looking so incredibly strong. And as we're going later and later into this game, man, look at the gold lead that's been amassed for Supernova as time has gone on. It's been just slowly but surely exploding out of the range from TSM, right? Like, TSM had a nice early game given to him again, and yet again, Supernova has wrangled it on back, but with a swiftness this time.
Yeah, it feels really bad to pick up 2 free kills at level 1 and end up behind 6k gold by 18 minutes. That's not usually how that's supposed to go, Travesty, but it's been good proactive play from Supernova, good use of their champions and their power spikes, and now we're going to slow down a little bit. You know, there's no soul happening anytime soon. The first dragon happened very late into the game, and it was actually taken by TSM, so it's going to be a while before we see anything like that. It's going to be a little bit before Baron's even on the map. We're only at 18.5 minutes, and no one's really going to be taking that super early. But if you're Supernova, you're happy to scale, and actually they're setting up a play. They're going to engage this.
Yeah, they're looking for the play here. Not going to be able to hit the binding, which is what they needed. But it's going to be Cozy over here onto the side, but they had vision. They knew that Cozy was coming from this angle, so he's going to get dropped down very, very low. Lucian's going to be able to get a lot of damage off. He's going to be able to find 2 kills for themselves, but on the same note, Supernova find 2 of their own. Now it's going to be this Karma trying to kite it on back. He is not going to be able to be successful. So that's beautiful Buster Shot to come through. He is going to make sure to keep the rest of their side away from this. Strampus is going in. Beautiful ultimate. Beautiful stun. Strampus is looking to capitalize. Finds the double kill. Sleepy looking to try and get some more auto attacks. Good knock up from Eclipse. They're looking to lay out even more damage onto him. Will they be able to secure the kill? Will be able to find the stun? Will be able to find a couple more autos, and they will be able to turn it around. Almost an ace in favor of Supernova.
And it was a good fight for TSM at the start. They were able to blow Cozy up on his flank. They did so much damage to him, even with the Chain of Corruption missing. It was just a lot, and you saw Doxa getting that kill. They got the shutdown onto Maddie. They picked up Papa Chow. You're thinking, all right, this is it. This is TSM's angle. They took mid-turret. They're taking a fight. They got the 5v4 because Strampus wasn't there. And then from the Raptor wall, Travesty, Strampus flying in like a hero, picking up those 3 kills and suddenly bringing that play right back. Even when Supernova choose to take a fight where they're outnumbered, they come out on top, and that is ridiculous.
I think the key thing there is, yet again, it's something that we have seen from TSM where it is a little bit of a hint of over-aggressiveness, right? Like, they pick up a kill and they're like, all right, we can continue forward. It's just a Tristana. Little did they know, there's still an Aurelia left alive with an ultimate ability. Once she's able to get that passive going, that's a lot of damage. And I think that's the big thing is, yet again, they get a little bit too eager. Their eyes get bigger than their stomach at that point in time. And now that all of a sudden they're sitting here with this full plate of food and they're not able to finish it. They're in a troublesome situation. This is a kind of a trend that they've been finding themselves into. Now that's has to be careful because the 1v1 is not in favor. This Lucian that was meant to get ahead in the early to mid game has not been able to do so. And it's just been an even matchup between Strampus and Doxa on this Lucian versus Aurelia pick.
I want to point out there was an attempt at an engage from
I saw
that's the power of Karma being reactive. You know, you just pop the mantra Inspire, everyone has a shield and movement speed, you say, oh, the Scion's engaging from somewhere, how about we just run away? And then you do. It's a little mini Sivir ult, you can use it to get the heck out of dodge, get yourself to safety, works out, waste that Scion ultimate. Herald gonna get wasted right back though, not totally sure what that was. I think it probably just timed out and they had to place it down somewhere.
Yeah, it was timing out at that point in time. But hey, Dragon was secured while that all happened. So it's going to be nice for them to be able to grab. And these need to be careful. I think Supernova is looking for an angle on a fight.
Yeah, the Aatrox isn't here, so they're going to be outnumbered yet again.
Ooh. Equalizer, not a good equalizer though. Not going to be able to connect onto anybody over here onto the side. The Aatrox is going to be able to jump into the fight here. Is trying to lay out some damage of his own, but is not going to be able to get taken down on this all said and done. One member has been taken away, but it's going to be Eclipse getting taken away into the backside. The HP bars are critical mass. Triple kill coming out. Could this be the moment for Sleepy looking for a possible Penta for himself there? Not that just going to be able to connect. The calling is going to be there. No Penta to be secured, but it will be the ace and the quadra kill for this Tristana.
It's another 5-for-3 ace. We've seen that back-to-back. Oh, that's 5-for-2, not 5-for-3. There's 3 people alive, Travesty. I'm really good at math, I promise. It's another fight where it looks at first like it's going to be good for TSM. Sleepy was just hitting Eclipse for the first 10 seconds of that fight, not getting damage onto any higher priority target. Cozy had a teleport in that had to force him to run away. He ends up getting blown up. The Strampus engage is exhausted by Donbray. He has to play it slower, but he just lives in the backline for so long. Strampus didn't go down, was buying so much time in the TSM backline, and by the time that Supernova had taken care of Eclipse, were moving in to follow up with Strampus, he was still half health and doing so much damage that it was just a cleanup job. The Tristana with the resets is there. They're able to get the damage down. They're able to get the kills. They don't get an objective off of it. They don't win the fight quite that hard, but they grow that gold lead a little bit. They show that even in a messy team fight, even when they get a bad teleport, the Tristana isn't in a great position. They're still winning it. They're winning it relatively handily.
Very handily indeed. I mean, like, the team fights are like, they look close at a glance, but then all of a sudden the end result speaks for itself. You looked at that fight and it was just like, oh wow, TSM's able to pick up the first kill, and they picked it up early in these fights. They are not getting like these picks that are just completely fruitless. It's one kill and then the fight lasts long enough that somehow Supernova just come out on top. And that has been the last couple of fights that have gone in favor of Supernova.
And I think a lot of it's just on the back of this Irelia and on Strampus, who is making magic happen in both of those fights. It really was. He came in and cleaned up that first one. He goes in and stalls in that second one. And now Supernova's starting to turn their attention to this Baron. They know they're stronger. They want to force TSM to answer. TSM's going to have to.
Yeah,
Baron
but there's no
ludicrously
TP on Dota. There's no Lucian here. That's a binding to be able to connect, and that is death and doom. That is all she wrote. Sleepy Lynx is dominating currently. 10-4-8 on the Tristana. This could be bad. You just saw they were right there. Where do you go with Varus? You're going to go back to the fountain. Sleepy Lynx is going to be able to take him out. The Equalizer got put down as his own red carpet. And that is just TSM having a series of just blunders there.
Yeah, I mean, it's your Rakan gets picked off. So what do you do, Travesty? Your support is dead. The enemy team's in the Baron side river. I think as an immobility carry, I'm pushing mid. And I mean, it's exactly what you expect to have happen. There's enough engage on Supernova to punish that kind of play. They're able to get on top of Gorka, and then they just turn their attention right onto Infectrix. It was there. They have the engage. They have the tools. They took advantage of the fact that they're so hard to face check into. When you go and try and see if the Baron's going down, there's the threat of that Dark Binding connecting, and there's enough damage on this Morg, enough damage on this Trist, that you die when that happens. Every time a Dark Binding connects, unless it's on Eclipse, perhaps someone's going to fall. And that makes this Baron super easy for Supernova to convert on. They get into the river, they get the play, they get a few kills, they get the Baron, and now, Travesty, they can start pushing down. This is the Baron where they can look to be cracking the base.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough time, man. I feel like there was just a series of mental mistakes, and TSM, they've got to clean this up if they want to find themselves with a chance here, but there's a 10k difference in gold at 25 minutes that's staring them down, and so many key members are strong. Look at this. Sion has to use his ultimate. That onslaught, he has to get away. He has to use that to get away from this. And the Lucian is not strong enough to side lane anymore. He's lost all of his power here. And this is the problem with picking the Lucian. This is what you would be afraid of when we see the Lucian pick. It's like, eventually, it does not beat the Irelia in the side lane.
Here's another engage.
Yeah, they're going for it. The Equalizer hits nobody. The Quickening is not going to be able to do anything. And it's just Supernova finding everything they want at a low price. And see Papa Chow flashing away. Not going to get caught out of position there. And the siege just continues to go on. There's just a 1-3-1 with no stress being put on the Supernova about it.
And this is just getting a little messy. It's getting a little sloppy. TSM starting to just drop kills all over the place. Nothing particular.
Oh, Sleepy.
He's
used to bust a shot.
He's got a black shield. He's totally fine. Oh, never mind. He's not fine.
He's not fine. No, there's a Varus. The Varus hurts.
My bad.
It's still very, very painful. There's a reason why this champion is a picker ban AD for a lot of people right now. And we're seeing Satan just take it. I mean, he's got so much HP, but it's just for the taking. They're just milking him for damage at this point in time. Equalizer coming down yet again, trying to see if they can dissuade the rest of the team from the Supernova lineup. They're looking at him. Yeah, Supernova's limping away, but TSM can't find the angle.
Yeah, and it's hard to chase this team because, once again, there's Dark Bindings being thrown out all over the place. If you eat one, you're just going to go down. You see they're fishing with it. Maddie throwing them out here and there, dropping that Tormented Shadow. They're trying, though.
I think they're overstaying this, though. Eclipse is over here onto the backside here. There's nobody to be able to help Cozy. They're going to find themselves falling down one by one. They don't have their Tristana at this current moment now. And it's going to be 3 kills secured. Strump is having to retreat. And that was just a massive overstay by Supernova. Just a huge amount of disrespect coming out.
Yeah, I think the easy and safe play there is you have Baron recall, you've Karma sped up, you can run away, and just go back to base. You've taken 4 turrets with your Baron, you have a ton of gold in your pockets, you should spend it, come back on the map, and then try and make more things happen. Supernova, instead, they know that they can kind of fish for picks with these Dark Bindings. What they weren't expecting was a fantastic flank from Eclipse, forcing them to back out, forcing them to run away, and then they were divided. They had 2 in the river dealing with the Scion, they had 2 trying to take the fight to TSM, and it ended up with a split fight where a lot of them go down. The nice thing for Supernova, they don't lose any objectives. The nice thing for TSM, they pick up some kills, they pick up some gold. They still have the capacity to punish mistakes. They're just gonna need to do a lot more of that.
Yeah, absolutely that, man. And it's one of those things where it's just like Supernova just stayed too long, man. Like they were, like you said, fishing for the bindings. and just kind of saying, oh, well, we know if we get somebody with any bit of CC, they're locked away, they're done. But at the same time, it's just like, you could have just reset. You had a dragon, right? Like, just reset, wait for your Tristana and whatnot. And
Speaking of reset, by the way, we're gonna need to reset and resync once again, Travis.
We need the resync. So, what, ladies and gentlemen?
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Had to sync everything up, so we're, not too far away from each other as the action continues on. As this is still a game that could, TSM, they're looking to continue fighting for.
They're not rolling over. They're still looking for things when they know that they can take it. It's just very hard.
Yes, very difficult indeed, I think, is definitely the word to look for, and it comes down to, this composition here. They do have to play around Eclipse. That was a fantastic flank from Eclipse. That was a very pivotal ultimate ability to see there. Seeing them have that unstoppable onslaught. This is not the first time we've seen them coming at these fights with unique angles. And honestly, that's what TSM needs more of. They need more of Eclipse engaging these big fights from these unique angles to catch them off guard and to divide the team fights in favor of themselves.
Yeah, and I think the issue for TSM is that we had this last game too where I said it. I think it's the case again where if they take the fight to Supernova when Supernova is playing coordinated, it's just not going to work. They're not going to be able to force something that generates an advantage for themselves. They need to wait for Supernova to put themselves in a bad position. They need to wait for a 4-man push that can be engaged on and be outnumbered. They need to wait for someone to push too far and overstay on the tail end of a Baron. That's the sort of thing that they can capitalize on. They got one, they got the kills, they just need more because 10k gold's a lot. The alternative, and you can always do a travesty, is just turtle. Just sit back. The soul's not coming in for another 10 minutes approximately, even if you give up both dragons. You can wait, and 10k gold now is going to be not nearly as bad as 10k gold in another 10 minutes because there's going to be so much more gold in the game. It'll be a much smaller percentage of all gold earned. And this is a cheeky play from Doxa.
Very cheeky indeed. You see the bait coming through here. Are you turtle enough for the Turtle Club? Well, how about the damage? How about the deets? Look at this. Cozy Shroud goes down. Beautiful catch by TSM. But when this happens, Supernova, that's the signal for them to bear their fangs down. They're trying to crush something down, but they're not in a position to really pull anything on this top side of the map.
Yeah, and they don't get the turret, but the Baron has spawned. The Lucian and the Scion are still both bot lane. They both have teleports coming up in a matter of seconds. Dox's just came up, Eclipse's comes up very soon, and it doesn't look like Supernova are actually going to try this Baron. I think they could have. TSM looks really slow to react to it, but they're fishing for kills. They're trying to bait it instead, and it's just not really working out for them. So that's a good pick. That's a good kill. That's a good capitalization on a mistake from Supernova. TSM getting themselves a little more gold, getting themselves a little closer to bringing this game back.
Oh, they have vision on the Scion. They know exactly where the Scion is. They're going to look to try and jump onto him, but he's a hulking beefcake of a man here. You're not going to be able to take him down. You can barely tickle him. And you see Cozy, he's back up. He does have TP, so he does have the option to go for some sort of a TP flank, but is kind of just waiting in base, seeing what the moment might be, trying to keep an eye on what the probable angle will be. He has some nice flank wards, actually.
Yeah, and I can't help but feel like that's a little bit of a waste from Sleepy. They spent so long sitting in that bush trying to bait it. They were trying to see if they could get someone from TSM to check into them and to kind of give up your position to trade for, 5% of Scion's health. Just not an optimal use of the last 30 seconds, but I think Supernova figured that they had been spotted, that they had been called out in that bush, and so, no big deal. They're going to get spotted on the Baron by a blue ward, but we're doing the Baron dance now, Travesty. They're just going to keep doing what they can do. They know they can fish. They know they can wait. This time, they're not going to be outnumbered. This time, they have Sleepy with them to do the damage if it's needed. That's going to be a big difference maker.
Strampus is caught out of position here.
Oh, he's going in.
Looking to try and jump in, though. It's going to be the unstoppable onslaught being used to make a swift retreat That's a huge ultimate that's on cooldown now. You have a couple seconds to play with until that is back up. But going back to fishing, it's time to go. It's going to be the Rakan getting jumped onto, stun. It's going to be able to connect, but he's going to be able to dash out of harm's way here. TSM going to just steadily retreat yet again.
Yeah, and the Dark Binding missed on Donbray by a hair. Had that connected, that would have been a kill. That would have likely been Baron. We're going to keep trying this.
No! They were just there. It's going to be the equalizer that's going to be used, but Dota is going to be able to stay out of this fight relatively unscathed. It's going to be able to lay out a lot of damage inside of this fight. It's going to be Cozy Shroud. It's going to be the next person to go down. That's going to be a double kill that goes over to Delusion. That's going to be Strompus getting taken off the table as well. Now Sleepy Lanes is getting jumped onto. It is just the Karma left alive as Dota's been able to just free hit throughout this fight. And TSM, they're looking to possibly end the game here.
Yeah, the death timers are 40 seconds here, Travesty. That is so long. This probably is going to be game. They have the Scion, they have the Rakan. They can tank up these turrets for this minion wave. This is some very important minions. They have a cannon one. This is it. They've done it. They just took a fight. They may have been down 10k gold, but if Dox is going to put out 7,000 damage in a team fight, they're going to win it. They're going to take the game. And Travesty, they're going to push us to a game 3.
They were taking us to game 3. They said, screw your 10k gold lead. We're just going to show that stat doesn't even matter, baby. It's going to be a Nexus to explode. And TSM taking this to a game number 3 here. And it's going to happen. They're both the AD carries are up. They're just dancing around the Nexus at this point. But we're going to game 3 here, man.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, Travesty. I did not think that was going to happen. Supernova just kept trying the same bushwhack play over and over and over again. And TSM, they kind of knew. They sent the right person in to face check it. And, I mean, I wish we had stats on damage done in a team fight because I could swear Doxa just killed everyone. He was hitting everyone. He was free hitting on Cozy, then free hitting on Strompus. He was hitting on Maddie. He just auto-attacked everyone. He didn't ever really get threatened. And he managed to just force that fight. While TSM stayed alive, no one really went down. And I mean, what can you say other than a clean team fight from them? You're down 10k gold, who cares? Just win the game.
Yeah, it's just really and truly was a phenomenal angle found from TSM, and it shows they had this do or die attitude. They said never die. We're never going to die. We only do around here. And TSM, they pull out what was a fantastic win for themselves. There's still some issues that we definitely have here. That definitely felt more of Supernova throwing away a win there, it more so than TSM picking up the win. It feels like, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of curious on how TSM is going to look to clean up their plan because they get a dub here, right? And they have some things that are definitely working out for them. But I want to see them actually convincingly take this series if they are going to pick up the dub. And I want to see Supernova, clean up some of these mistakes. Don't get too full of yourself. TSM will always try to find a way to get back into this fight. The series ain't over until a Nexus explodes.
Yeah, and this is going to push us, Travesty, to a final game 3. This is a game that decides who qualifies for Cup and who doesn't. That's all it's going to boil down to. We've been spending the entire day on these open qualifiers, and this is it. We're going to be going into the final chance for both of these teams. There is a second open qualifier for the teams that do not make it in this time, but you'd love to get it done here. You'd love to make sure that you can accomplish what you're going for here, get into the proving grounds. It's going to be a very, very high-pressure game. We'll see how these teams can adapt to that.
We will. After this short break, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with game number 3 in this best of 3 series.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to game number 3. We are getting into what has been a fantastic series, and as it has to be, all good things must come to an end. And either one of these teams here are going to have to take the L here today. It's 1-1 TSM Supernova. Who is going to come out on top? That's what we're here to find out. My name's Travesty. I am joined here by Coleslaw Cole. We are going into what has been a very, very fun game, and that a very explosive end there that last game.
We saw a couple team fights where, we said that this Lucian pick, it's one of those picks that you go for the early game dominance, but it doesn't scale terribly. He's still a marksman, and Doxa proved that in that last team fight in that game. He pumped out so much damage. He was just doing more than his counterparts on the side of Supernova, and he made it happen. I have to think that TSM, after seeing that, might be wanting to go right back to it. Supernova going to be going right back to the Morgana. No reason to want to change that thing up. It was monstrous in both of the first 2 games. I don't think they need to deviate, but I'd love to see them try to come up with a different answer for this, because they really don't want to repeat what just happened in game 2.
Well, interesting thing to take note of is this time, we have TSM over here on the red side. Supernova's on blue. They banned the Varus. They've gotten Varus twice now, and they said, you know what, we think you're going to first pick it and ban it away this time around. So very curious indeed, as I believe the last time they banned Udyr when they were on red side, but Rumblelution locked in just like that.
And I don't love the Rumble. I don't think it's been fantastic in either of these first 2 games. It does some damage. It's there, but it's not really doing as much damage as you'd like to see out of a Rumble jungle to justify the pick. The Lucian, on the other hand, I mean, it's hard to argue with that after the results we saw in that game too. I mean, how could you not put Doxa back on Lucian if Supernova is going to give it to you? And you're just going to tell Supernova that they're going to have a different answer to that pickup. But Draft's not looking much different.
But here's the thing. This is what I don't like about them picking up the Lucian. I think Doxa can play just about any aggressive carry if he really wants to. We've seen the Zed be phenomenal. We've seen the Lucian in game number 2. That was phenomenal. I think safe to say he could play a lot of different carry champions. you pick a marksman like this early on, the Nautilus comes out here. And this is one of my biggest things and why I think that you see a lot of the things that happened in that last game be so successful. There's no real hard engage that was coming out from the Supernova comp, so there was no way to lock down a champion like Lucian besides hitting them with a binding, something like that. They do have flexibility if they do decide to, but I highly anticipate this Lucian to be inside the mid lane.
Yeah, and they're going to go Leona as well. I understand that Leona's better laning into Nautilus, which is why they're picking it up, but I think Rakan just provided so much value in mid and late game. It was what made team fights work for them, and going away from what succeeded and going back to something that they lost pretty hard with in the first game is a little surprising to me. I think it's prioritizing lane. They did win bot lane very hard with the Leona in game 1, but these first 2 games, neither one of them have been about who won lane. They've really been about who can win the game from 30 minutes on. And I'm surprised that TSM's kind of going back to prioritizing what works before 30 minutes.
And interesting thing, they banned away Aurelia here, so we are going to see a difference here coming out from Supernova. I'm curious if we will still see the Aatrox come out, because we've seen Aatrox, I feel like, all night from the side of Supernova. It's a champion they've been very confident in, and a champion they've thought has been very, very pivotal for them. Jinx was left open, so that is going to be the easy lock-in for TSM. Now we have to see. This is going to be them blinding their top lane here.
Yeah, I mean, you can go mid to answer the Lucian. I guess they're blinding their top laner anyway, because Travesty, blue side gets 2 picks here. This is welcome to League of Legends analysis. I'll be your guide. You get to go 4 and 5 back to back. So yes, they are going to have to blind pick top lane. You're correct. I'm just silly. And it's gonna be Aatrox, and I think the even more exciting pick here is what they're gonna do, what they're going to say about that Lucian, what Strumpist is going to do to try to shut down Doxa and keep this Lucian from carrying those late game team fights, because that's really important for Supernova.
Yeah, and you do see the Aatrox coming in yet again. There's a couple picks that we have seen from Strumpus in the past that have been very effective. We'll be continuing to see it. And this is the one I was thinking about here. This is Strumpus, in my eyes, a signature champion from Strumpus here. And it's a champion that negates a lot of the going forward that they could want to look to do. And this is right inside of Strumpus's comfort now. You have to see exactly what are you wanting to take up here against the Aatrox here. Eclipse has been having a bit of a rougher time inside of that top lane. Wait a second. Are you gonna let that in?
Are we about to have a real Hoonie moment? Oh,
Lucian,
we're having a real Hoonie moment.
Lucian top, baby. Eclipse said it's his time to shine.
Oh,
your time is up. His time is now. Let's go, baby. I'm ready to see me some Lucian up in the top lane. Now, to be fair, this is a very squishy composition here, but this is the adaptation. They were looking to try and have this bait come out. I'm curious if it will pay off for the side of TSM.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough first couple games for Eclipse. Game 1, especially on the Gnar, was just not a good showing. The Scion was fine. It got a couple key engages, and especially in those last fights, I mean, he basically got to stand there and be fat and just absorb damage from Sleepy, which was all he really needed to do to let the rest of the team kind of make it happen. So I think it's an interesting decision to put a guy who's been kind of not performing fantastically on the individual level onto a champion that requires really accurate individual execution. This has the chance to, break him out of that rut, put him on a champion with more agency and damage to see if he can just smash this lane and get himself in a more confident position. But it could also backfire when you put a player who hasn't had 2 great games onto such a kind of polarizing, double-edged sword of a champion. If it doesn't go well, TSM's composition is going to fall very flat.
My biggest fear is actually, like, you were talking about, like, the different things. We actually see a lot of bright spots, and I'm going to be here to cheer up for Eclipse over here inside the top side, because honestly, the angles that we saw coming out from that Scion game were immaculate, and there was a lot better. When the Gnar game, we saw a lot of nothing happen. In game number 2, he was constantly proactive about finding ways and angles to take on these fights. And honestly, if you are going to be playing Lucian in top lane, that's a very important thing. If you're looking to flank into these fights, right? You have to find these unique angles. You have to find these unique ways to go into it because you don't want to get hit by a button. You don't want to get tagged by the Aatrox slamming around his sword. You don't want to find yourself in the miasma. You want to try and find these flanks and try and pick people off from the side. And I'm personally, Eclipse, he might be feeling himself a little bit here because he's been kind of returning to form over the course of that second game and had a pretty good time. The question is, how does it perform into this Aatrox where we've seen Cozy be dominating inside the top lane?
Yeah, I think the nice thing for TSM to answer is this is an effort to shut down Cozy. And the nice thing is that when you draft damage mid, damage jungle, damage top, damage bot, it's a lot of damage. And
You don't say.
believe it or not, 2 marksmen, a rumble, and a Syndra will pump out a lot of damage. And having that much damage in your composition can really punish a team that doesn't have a super tanky front line. When the Aatrox goes in and tries to make things happen, he's going to melt in most situations. We're going to need to see some interesting itemization from Cozy to adapt to that if it's going to be a successful pickup. Whether that's Asterix and a Gargoyles or Guardian Angel or something along those lines, I think that's what we're going to need to see from him. I think he's got to accept that Gore Drinker probably not fantastic in this situation. Might go it anyway just because Asterix and Gargoyles aren't really mythics and you got to have some kind of mythic. But TSM can run over the game if they get a lead. They have so much damage. It's the kind of comp that snowballs so hard. And when you start winning fights a little bit, you have a Jinx who can get excited and just melt the rest of the Supernova composition.
100% agree, man. I mean, there's nothing really to add on to that, right? Like you look at the composition and how it can play out there. Another big thing is to talk about the Leona and how it's going to try and set up for these fights. And there's a lot of pressure on this Leona pick here. And you look over at TSM's Leona here, they're the sole purpose of like setting up for these fights, right? That's your main thing of CC, and that's setting up the Rumble. And to look at that and then you compare it over to Supernova, I do want to kind of do a quick CC comparison because I think crowd control can win you games very quickly and very effectively. You got Morgana Binding, Soul Shackle, Miasma, you got the Anchor, you got Nautilus. Let's just put Nautilus as a champion there.
Yeah.
There's a lot more CC and it's a lot easier to be able to layer it on and apply it to these fights than the Leona is going to be able to, where her whole thing is going to be I Zenith Blade forward and I stun somebody. And I hope that the Syndra might start off the fight with a Scatter the Wheat that I can lay up with a Solar Flare, or I get a Solar Flare that can be chained into a Scatter the Weak. That's going to be a major combo that they're going to use. And that's their big way of getting this AoE damage and getting this Rumble to layer everything on top.
Yeah, and I said it last game, and I'm going to say it in this game too, which is that when there is kind of this big damage coming from both teams, it often is the team that just pulls the trigger first. If you can go in, lock someone down, blow them up, or lock multiple people down and blow them all up, you'll win the fight. It's really that simple. TSM doesn't really have the great disengage. They're about going forwards. Supernova with the Cassiopeia, with the Tristana, with the Aatrox, they're about going forwards too. They don't want to kite back. They're not really a kiting comp. You can argue that the Dark Binding is good at that, but not a whole lot else in their arsenal is good at running away and doing damage in the process. So both these teams want to run at each other. When that happens, it often just boils down to who gets the early lead, who gets the early kills, who can start the snowball and keep going. You got to play aggressive. You got to play proactive. You got to generate kills, go for dives, take those early objectives, try and run this game over. That is the secret to success. What that means, Travesty, is that Supernova, no level 1 freebies, no level 2 freebies, level 3 freebies.
Yeah, no more freebies. No more freebies. They're out. They're out the door. But you know something? We're still going to be into the action here, as ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take ourselves a short break. When we come back, we are going to be going into the final decisive game of this open qualifier here between TSM and Supernova. So don't touch that browser.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3 here. We are going into it. One team will be able to pass through the open qualifiers today. The other team is going to have to try their luck again tomorrow. If you're just now joining us, my name is Travis. I am joined here by Coleslaw and Cole. It looks like we're not going to see any slaughtering going down in the river here, at least not at level 1. No shenanigans at the current moment in time.
Yeah, I know we have people who've been tuning into this series as it's gone on. This is kind of the last game going on in this open qualifier. So to catch you up to speed in case you missed the first 2 games, in game 1, we saw Maddie gank bot lane as a level 2 Morgana without Black Shield, getting CC'd and killed by the Leona and Varus from TSM. Gorka and Dombre just got donated a kill. Last game, we saw Supernova go for a very prolonged level 1 red buff invade where they stayed there so long that Doxa was able to get priority on Lucian in mid lane, shove a wave under turret, then fall back and turn the red buff fight into a 4-on-3, and they picked up 2 free kills at level 1. So Supernova have been blundering in the first, 4 minutes of the game, something you'd want to avoid when you can, and this is the kind of game where that can be punished super hard. So that's what I mentioned freebies. We're talking about that. It's been a wild adventure here. This game, though, we have junglers starting on opposite sides of the map. We have nothing scary going on. It's just business as usual here on Summoner's Rift. We'll have to see if someone kills themselves at level 2. There's always time, but hopefully not.
Well, we've seen it at level 1. We've seen it at level 2. Nets is level 3, right? Like,
Yeah.
just the basic math skills just tell me this. As we are going to see Dombre just laying out a good amount of damage. The bomb is also going to do some hurting of its own there, but the Ignite was already used by Papa Chow. Very interesting.
Yeah, and that's a play you can sometimes make, is if you use the Ignite that early, the idea is that the cooldown comes back up before you're even recalling in a lot of instances, and it can make the re-engage when you have Ignite again a lot more valuable. You just kind of use it for poke. It works better if you're going to mitigate the heal and apply Grievous Wounds. It's not always an optimal play, but sometimes that cooldown's just, sure, use it level 1, it'll be back up at level 5, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal at all here. As you know, you got to take a moment to look across the board here, looking at different things. And I want to talk about Eclipse here, because this has been the big player we're talking about. Eclipse got a nice CS lead, has the Cole as a first item pickup here. Looking pretty good for themselves over there in the top side.
Whoa!
Whoa! Papa Chow looking aggressive for this. The traps have been placed down, but it's just Jinx getting taken out. First blood going over, and that's exactly the game head he wanted in game number 1.
Yeah, that was what he was going for when he died at level 2. This time it works out. The Jinx is going to get punished, is going to go down. Gorka not even bothering to use his flash. They're picking that up onto Sleepy on this Tristana. That's an excellent first blood for Supernova. Probably on the perfect target too, because a Jinx getting ahead will just be able to keep a Tristana getting ahead. Will be able to keep jumping onto the Jinx and just blow Gorka up basically every opportunity they get.
Yeah, we saw that aggression coming out from Sleepy Links inside of this champion too, and that's something to keep note of. And I love the fact you bring it up. Is this is somebody who's very aggressive with their rocket jumps. This is somebody who turns around and uses their gun named Boomer, and they say, you know what? It might look like it's used for artillery or of some type or anything like that. No, this is a straight up shotgun. It's a blunderbuss, and is straight up getting right into people's faces with this champion. So you'll love to see it. And look at this. Eclipse is doing such a great job zoning Cozy off of this wave and really putting the hurt onto them.
Yeah, and this is what you want out of Lucian. It's working out for Eclipse. You see Cozy just having a wave shoved underneath turret, not even able to pick up these last hits. That was a massive wave. I think Cozy got only 2 or 3 of them. He's not even trying to last hit. He's just taking damage and trying to fight back, but it's going to put him in the hole. It's going to put him rather behind, but the risk here with Eclipse is that being pushed up like this means that you are vulnerable to ganks. Maddie is going to be spotted on a ward. You see the pings coming out on the map. That means that might buy some time, some pressure for Cozy to get a breather, get some far, and you see Eclipse backing right off. That's a good play. That's how you support this, and Maddie really knows with how Lucian responded. There's a ward somewhere. Gonna go clear that out, but
I do love this too, man. Like, this just shows, this is the kind of support you want to see from your team when you're playing a pick like Lucian. These deep wards that come on through here, and you love to see it. But Cozy looking to try and get the fight. The flash was butchered there. Cozy will absolutely make quick work of Eclipse.
Yeah, and all that work that Eclipse spent on levels 1 to 3 or 4, getting ahead, getting the CS lead, shoving the Aatrox in and punishing him, it comes undone in a moment. That's just a solo kill. Cozy making up for that differential immediately, going back to base, getting himself a nice buy. And that's got to be a little demoralizing. You pick this Lucian to win lane, to smash it, to put Cozy down, try and keep him from popping off like he has in the first couple games, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Trump is taking a bit of damage here. Beautiful! Grab him off the flash. The miasmas dash. Trumpus finds the kill, and Supernova finds her 3rd kill of this game so far.
And that's perfect play from Papa Chow. Doxa flashes away from the Hex Flash Nautilus. The dredge line connects anyway. That means that's going to be a kill. That's going to be another pickup. Goes on to Strumpus, and now Supernova have kills in top lane, in mid lane, and in bot lane. They're looking pretty.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about real quick the fact that we did see that we got some more action yet again. Donberry will be able to get out of this with no problem. No other action to come out. But yeah, I do want to highlight the fact that this is TSM Amateurs team playing their 6th game of the night. They have had 2 full best of 3s in comparison to Supernova, who had probably the swiftest 2-0 of the night. With 2 games that were under 20 minutes, I believe. So it's just like, you look at the comparison between them. Supernova's actually had a lot of time to like breathe, get them into refresh, and this is their first time having to go the distance inside of a series like this. TSM Amateur, you got to think they are kind of in that mental drought where they're like, all right, we've been playing for so long today, and you can see little mistakes like that happen with fatigue at that high of a level.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 6th game in a day is something that I don't think even happens at the pro level. This is more games than you expect, so it is definitely testing the mental endurance. And look at these trades in top lane. Cozy starting to fight back now, going to keep even in CS a little bit more. He's got that assertiveness now that he's got the kill in his belt. Doesn't have to get it zoned off of the wave as much. And here comes Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie's over here in the sides here.
Oh,
saves the binding, but does not connect with it. Now it's going to be the calling coming out. Maddie, you got to go the other direction there, buddy, as the damage is almost enough to take him out.
Yeah, and that could have been a disaster right back had Maddie gone down to Eclipse. He was able to survive. Looks missing both sides.
Yeah, yeah, they're both missed there. It's going to be Papa Chow taking a lot of free damage as it's going to be the pain coming on through. But the Unite was used by Donbray in that exchange, while the heal was used by Sleepy.
It's just a little bit of trading. These bot lanes a little antsy. They've been duking it out all series. There have been lots of 2v2 kills happening down here, so they're trying to make it happen. With the priority, they're going to go ahead and take this Infernal Drake. That's going to be the first dragon of the game. A good pick up for TSM. It's been kind of deprioritized in this series a little bit. We haven't seen many early dragons. That's probably the earliest first dragon I think we've seen. And yeah, it's very close to getting Eclipse there in the top lane.
I just love the fact that not only was it close, but you also saw the Mia Pains. Wait a second, you know they're right there. You know the dive is coming. The Soul Shackles are there, and it's just going to be Cozy finding the kill. You knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's not a good play, Travesty. That's the Shinshin TP, I believe is what we call that one, where you know the enemy jungler is nearby and you just kill yourself by teleporting in. Infectrix at least able to get a flash on the tail end of it.
Yeah, did get a flash off of it with the equalizer being used, but will not be sticking around to clear that wave out, leaving that for Eclipse to be able to do. Has some Krugs to go ahead and kill. But man, oh man, what a series of events over there inside the top side, and Eclipse in the struggle bus, man. He's punched his ticket, and he is struggling right now. 0-2 on the Lucian pick, and that CS differential won't last for very long as this Aatrox starts getting more and more itemization. Has those plated boots, those ninja tabby, as I like to call them.
And we actually see a lane swap coming in from Supernova. You see the Tristana and Nautilus are up here. The Dragon is down. The Rift Herald is up. So you send extra members of your team onto this side of the map. And here comes Sleepy.
Yeah, look at him. He just goes on forward, laying out damage. But look at how bad he got hurt in comparison to the Lucian there. That is, whew. Sleepy is an aggressive player on this Tristana with an itchy finger.
Now Cozy on the bot side, having to defend himself 1v2, but he's actually taking some fights.
Yeah, he's looking to fight him up underneath the tower. He says, bring it on. Trying Trying to be sure to do. The World Ender has been popped. It's going to be able to get stunned up, but over on the backside, the Stromp is here. The Petrifying Gaze not going to be able to stun anybody, but it's going to be able to lay out the damage. As you do see the Solar Flare coming through, not going to be able to get anything but the slow. Donbray just trying to run for his life, but this Darkin is going to be able to find him, flashes forward, and goes on a rampage. Cozy, 4-0 on this Aatrox.
Yep. Maddie also picks up the Herald while that's going down. Lane swap works out perfectly for Supernova. They don't get the kill on the top side, but they get everything else they were looking for. Stromp is going to have to run away. Equalizer dropped. He might go down here.
Maddie is here in the area. This could get turned around here. He's got the fangs and he's sinking them in deep, baby. It's going to be the Binding that's going to be able to force out the flash. It's going to be Adventurous getting jumped onto. The CC is going to be there, and the damage is there to follow it up. Maddie going to be sure to secure that kill as we got the orbs getting dropped. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to be able to get any kills. Just going to layer on a little bit of chip. Nautilus is here to join the fray, but it looks like everything is going to stabilize in this mid lane.
And so we can look back at draft for a moment here, Travesty. We had this Lucian top picked. The idea was Cozy has been a monster in every game this series. He's just been playing so well. And you think, okay, let's get him into a range versus melee top matchup, keep him down, punish him, shove him under his turret, and bully him. And Travesty, we're at 11.5 minutes, and Cozy has 4 kills and a 400 gold bounty.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you do make like a small mistake, something that could have been just a small mistake normally when you're playing against somebody like Cozy. You know, making a mistake like that is critical. And Eclipse flashing in place in the top lane was definitely critical. He had a 40 CS differential in favor of himself. Still has a CS differential, but that's also because Cozy hasn't been in lane. Cozy went bot side and got 2 more kills. And now we're looking over here. You know, the bot lanes are back again, tangling with one another. But Sleepy is in a pretty strong state as well. 1-0 here, but has picked up a nice little CS differential while this has happened and didn't die to the opposing top lane.
Yeah, and it's gonna get rough here. They're looking for another dive. The Rumble is nearby.
Cozy, what are you doing? He's just doing victory laps around Eclipse. Please, the Soul Shackles are going to be able to come on through the Tormented Soil, but it is going to be a kill that gets to go over to Lucian. Trumpet is going to be able to sink his fangs into Adventurous. Adventurous goes down as we see the Jinx trying to fire back at the Tristana Nautilus combo, but Donbray is dropped down very, very low. Cannot continue on in this fight. Super Mega Death Rocket, good block coming out from Papa Chow. Not going to be hit by the zap either. A little bit of almost over aggressiveness cost him, but able to come out on top.
Yeah, Sleepy goes in, flashes after Gorka to try to chase it, but Gorka had flashed out of the way, so ends up being a trade for flashes that leaves Sleepy a little deeper than he wanted to be, having to burn the heal to keep himself alive. So not a beneficial trade at the tail end of that fight, but they do still force that Jinx back. They are still getting this pressure, and I mean, up at the top side, what did Stropus pick up Infectrix? I think he did, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay, so they trade 2 for 1 there. Maddie did die to the turret because he tanked like 6 turret shots.
Check out his build. Check out his build, though. He's gone the Riftmaker on the Casio.
Oh, yeah. You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can, but it's, you know, it's just something fun to look at, you know? I mean, we're looking at...
also fun is
Eclipse.
Dying.
Yeah, I would argue that's not as fun as you may assume.
Sorry, also fun is just solo killing your opponent when there's literally nothing they can do about it at all. How about that? We can reframe it.
That's a very fun thing, actually. Yes, I agree. That's very fun.
I'm not sure what that was, Travesty. That's just a free kill.
Yeah, nothing to say about that. There's going to be an equalizer put out, but it's not really doing that much damage. Just this Rumble is kind of behind right now. 0, 2, and 0 has the Sword Boots, which is nice pen to layer on, but doesn't have equalizer for this dragon now.
Yeah, and you see the Herald, it got dropped and it got those plates seconds before platings fell, so just getting the most out of that Herald for that gold before you miss the opportunity. Good awareness of the timing by Supernova, knowing that 14-minute cutoff is hard and unavoidable. And now, here's a play on the Doxa. Black Shield.
Yeah, look, unleashing power, but it's not enough. Maddie finds the kill there. I gotta say, real quick, Sleepy is brave. I have never seen another AD carry so willing to jump in front of a Syndra like that.
Well, that's the kind of play that having a Morgana enables you to do, right? When you have Black Shield on top of you, you jump in. You don't really have to fear the Scatter of the Weak stunning you up. You don't really have to fear getting blown up because you have extra health from the shield. And you've got that Morgana nearby, so even though the bomb and the Buster Shot wasn't quite enough damage, Maddie just gonna have to flash Soul Shackles. They still get the kill, they still get the trade, they get the mid turret, and Cozy with the dominance in the top lane, gonna get the top turret too.
And this is gonna be just an easy secure for them to be able to grab here. And right now, Supernova looking in firm control. This is the most control we've seen from Supernova inside of this series. And they've really been able to be the benefactors of a lot of the mistakes that have been coming out from the side of TSM Amateur. Doxa is in a bad spot here. He is going to find the depth charge. Yeah, you can flash away, but the binding will still find you. And Maddie will secure that kill with that Turmoil into the soil. TP coming through from Strumpus. And the siege continues.
And that's just Supernova kind of setting up in a bush and waiting behind, waiting for Doxa to push up. Now it's on to Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse is trying to turn this around because he did pop the World Ender at the very end there. And this is just, right now, TSM is in a really troublesome spot. Strumpus! The cojones on this man with the petrifying gaze, trying to see if he can find another kill. He's gonna have the Super Mega Death Target that will be able to seal the fate of the Tristana. Strumpus looking to continue sinking his things in, but goodness gracious, Strumpus!
Yeah, that's the Flash Cast ult. It doesn't actually get any stuns. It hits all three of them for the slow and damage, but they're all running away. They wanted nothing to do with it. They're able to flee. They're able to actually pick up a kill on Sleepy, so the play doesn't work out for Supernova. But they do get more on... Well, it only doesn't work out because they're not able to finish off any of the kills. They have the higher health bars at the end of the play, so they lose one, but they're going to get this Herald. They're going to get the objective at the end of the day, so it's a little messy. You give up a kill on your Tristana, but not a big deal either way.
It's the most aerodynamic snake I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, that was
me in my
that
dreams
was something.
tonight. But beside me getting caught off guard from all of that, we do see the Rift Herald does get secured, like you were talking about. Yet again, a little bit of tempo advantage that it will be able to secure from that. See exactly how the priorities kind of go, right? Cozy still has TP and could look to affect one of these lanes. And look at this, yet again, they're going to have a 1v2 scenario, but they're not willing to take it versus this Aatrox.
Yeah, that's the 1-5 Lucian versus the 6-0 Aatrox. I think I agree with that decision, Travesty. Sometimes you just gotta admit you can't take that fight. Eclipse has been dying all over the place. You do not want to make that problem worse by taking fights you're not allowed to.
Fair enough, fair enough. As Cozy is just looking to see, is anybody around? Nope, not gonna see anybody. And they're currently in this situation where Syndra's picking up farm in the side lane. So very curious spot indeed to be in here, as you can see, even here, Supernova, they have the inside tracks on anything they want to find, and they're taking full advantage of that.
Yeah, the one sad thing is that because they gave up that early dragon, they do not have an early soul. It's going to be a long while before that comes into the cards. It hasn't been an issue for either team so far. I don't think we've seen a soul all night. Dragon just overrated tonight in these open qualifiers. Who needs that when you can just kill your opponents and win the game? Kind of seems to be the name of the game tonight, so... I mean, you have the engage tools, so I think you're fine if you're Supernova. That's kind of your game plan here. Use the Nautilus, use the Petrifying Gaze, use the Morgue, and just go for kills. And here's a flank onto Strumpus, but he's just going to walk right out.
Yeah, he just got tagged by the Solar Flare. Doesn't connect with the stun, so nothing that can come from it. And we got Herald over here in the bot side. Is going to be able to secure a tower, and the gold lead is just increasing in favor of Supernova. We're getting close to that 20-minute mark, and it's almost a 10k diff between the two.
It is not the 18k diff at 18 minutes we saw in game one of the first series, but it is still a very large gold lead indeed. And this is the kind of thing that becomes very, very difficult to come back from. It's any single member of Supernova that TSM tries to take a fight with, they're going to be ahead. Maddie's ahead, Strumpus is ahead. Sleepy's not quite as accelerated as anyone else on the team, but we've seen him. He's a bad man. Tristana does spike relatively hard at this point in the game as well. He has that max rank E for maximum bomb damage when he gets those auto attacks off, and that can make it hard. There's very few angles that TSM can take to try and get themselves back in this game.
I will say one of the things I am probably the most sad about when you look at how the draft composition did come out and whatnot. We have a Syndra in the mid lane, and I feel like we've seen so much success where we've seen them have urgency inside the mid lane. And yeah, Syndra can kind of give you that with the scatter of the week and all this other stuff, but it is a mobile mage. And you know, we've been seeing the styling and profiling in the mid lane, and honestly, it's not exactly the easiest thing to be able to do onto a Syndra against this kind of a team composition. So another thing to kind of like think about right now is like one of the things that TSM has kind of lost in terms of their identity here has been that style, that swagger inside the mid lane. They just have the orbs to be able to drop down on.
Yeah, Doxa, this is not where he wants to be. He's kind of been punished a little bit by the other members of Supernova. It's never been Strampus just outplaying him. He pushes up mid and suddenly there's a Nautilus behind him saying, "Hello, I'm going to hook you or ult you," and you're just gonna die. He keeps getting flashed on, he keeps getting ganked, and there's just not enough vision from TSM to avoid those kinds of things. And it's Supernova being aware that, you know, if they can get onto a Syndra when she doesn't see anything, they're gonna get the kill.
Check this out over in topside. The Casio paying special attention just walks around the Syndra and Rumble that were waiting in the bush for them.
Yeah, they were. Wait, what? Why do we have a yoink in all chat? Gorica stole something or other. I don't know what, but
I think it was the red buff.
Did he ult the red buff? No.
No, he zapped it.
He zapped the red buff instead of yoink.
Yeah,
Okay, I missed that. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at top lane, Travis. You told me to. Here's the equalizer. Nothing following up though.
Yeah, there's nobody in range to be able to do anything. Like, that's the biggest problem for them right now, is they don't have a way to hold them down for the equalizer. They don't have a way to fast track themselves to get into a fight.
Yeah, and now you see they're just owning this red side jungle. Supernova have decided this is their home, this is their land, this is their town. They've got the wards, they've got the pressure. They're going to go get that top enter turret in relatively short order here. And setting up the wards and vision in this place, good way to pivot into a Baron. It can be really hard to approach. Well, TSM just kind of being baited by Cozy. He's like a little carrot on a stick here in the mid lane. They're walking at this Aatrox like, we can go get him, right? And while they're doing that, there's a wave crashing into their top inhibitor turret. Minions dying left and right. That's experience and gold being wasted by TSM.
Yeah, TSM don't know where to begin on how do they find their way to get a catch or to find a critical member here. Look at this. They're having to use the Super Mega Death Arc just to scout if the Baron is happening at this current moment in time. Like, they're in such a troublesome situation, and the best way to put it is they're just kind of lost. They don't know where they're supposed to go to at this current moment in time, and their composition doesn't really allow them a lot of breathing room, right? Like, even this Leona going through the jungle right now is probably just very terrifying. It feels like it's something out of a horror game or something like that, because any bush can contain the entirety of Supernova, and that is your death instantly, without any hesitation, without you even having enough time to ping it.
Yeah, well, Supernova playing it a little slow. They're playing it patiently. They're confident that they don't need to rush this game down. There's not really the risk of getting horribly outscaled. Of course, there's the oft repeated wisdom that you get 3 items on Jinx and you win the game. That's not a guarantee, especially when you're down this far, but it's something that you got to be aware of at least a little bit. You know, there's a lose condition if you're a little too slow, but here comes the Baron. Here it goes. Orca actually recalling. He's not going to be here if this Baron keeps going.
Yeah, this is theirs. There's no way for them to take it. The Super Mega Death Rocket isn't up just yet. It is about to be, though. Is the Jinx going to fire it off? Here we go. We see the equalizer coming through, but in the backside, we have an Aatrox. It is going to go over to the side of Supernova. The Petrifying Gaze Dota's getting jumped onto by Strampus. The rest of the team just falls in shambles as just the AD carries on the side of TSM Amateur left alive. They're mid, they're bot, but they're nowhere to be found in the base. And this is Supernova looking to just possibly end the game here.
And I'm a little confused as to what Eclipse was doing there. It's a great play by Supernova. Let's start with that. Is you saw the Buster shot onto Infectrix to kick that Rumble out of the way when the Baron got low, making sure it's not actually a 50-50. He was slammed into the wall by his Krugs, so he wasn't able to steal the Baron. And then Cozy and Strampus in the backline, making it happen, killing everyone who was trying to approach the Baron. And at the same time, I mean, Gorica just didn't even try, and Eclipse split pushing bot lane, didn't even try. What? Heck?
They're looking to try and cut this off. They want the fight. They want the smoke.
No, they don't. They don't want the fight. They don't want the fight,
They don't
Travesty.
want to fight this. That is them going down. Now it's going to be Strompas. He's going to be caught in a 1v2 situation. He's got a Leona sitting on top of him. Does going to be looking to try and lay out the damage onto the Nautilus here. Is going to find himself getting taken out by a Sleepy. Strompas is over here still 1v2 and he's fighting for his life. And he's going to be able to find one. He's looking for two. The solo player to come on out. Is it going to be enough? It is not. Strompas finds a 1v2. And all happens. And Jeet's still alive, looking untouched throughout all of this. But this is going to be the game ending here. TSM threw one last Hail Mary, but it wasn't quite enough. Jeet's saying, fight me. Come at me, Papa Chow.
Get him the kill.
Papa Chow with his first death in the game. Unfortunate.
Yeah, we're laughing at all chat. Gorka making fun of Papa Chow with that kill, but a fantastic game from Supernova. They got the early lead. They capitalized on that Lucian top. It was the bad Huni Lucian top, not the good Huni Lucian top. They punished that pick so hard, got themselves those kills, got themselves the snowball, and they just ran that game over. Travesty.
Okay, so I have to bring up a stat. I've been keeping up with everything that's been going on. I got a fun stack here that I would like to announce.
Okay.
No LCS amateur team made it past the first open qualifier.
Oh, interesting.
Very, very interesting. Every single LCS org amateur team did not make it into Knight's open qualifier.
Supernova did. Go Supernova.
Supernova did, and they absolutely did. But I mean, it's the amateur arc continues on, man. I see it in Supernova's chat now. In chat, the amateur arc continues. But honestly, I mean, TSM had a good game too, where they were able to pop off. I think we've seen them have a trend from their academy team where it's kind of like they got good mechanical players, but the macro just kind of falls apart sometimes. But you look over and Supernova just works so well as a team. I think that's one of the big things to talk about. And freaking just Cozy. Like, Cozy is just diffing everybody in the top side.
Yeah, Cozy has been a monster all 3 games this series. Cozy, I mean, comfortably my MVP for the night for Supernova. They really rode Cozy into Challengers Uprising. They're going to be playing in the Proving Ground circuit. That's great for them. Congratulations. I mean, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else can happen. Cozy was on 100 Thieves and kind of got yoinked away by Supernova here, and he's showing that LCS teams might want him back relatively soon. That's a really good series from him. Really dominant showing. He did look like the better top laner in all 3 games tonight, and I'm really impressed with his play.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm really excited to see what Supernova is going to continue to look like. They've been looking like they're getting molded into a fantastic team out there, and I'm ready to see exactly what Supernova has to bring because they're rearing up, they're gearing up to get ready for Proving Grounds here, and this was the first step for them to show here that they are here to ready to play here inside a cup. So congratulations again to Supernova. Is there anything else you would like to end us off with here today, Cole?
Well, it's just important to be aware that we mentioned that no LCS org was able to get through the open qualifiers tonight. That doesn't mean they're out. There's a second chance qualifier tomorrow. So all of these teams will have a second chance. And you have a lot of top teams that were in this bracket who have qualified now. So the competition will be a little lighter. The seeding will be a little different. And the teams that ended up with rough round 2 matchups may have things a little easier for themselves. TSM is not out of it. They have a chance tomorrow. You probably figure that they're going to be able to do it. They looked good. They took a game off of Supernova, one of the top amateur teams we have. They'll still have that chance. They should still make it, but they're going to have to earn it. That's going to be interesting to follow through on tomorrow as the open qualifiers continue. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of that. Aside from that, Travesty, I think we're about done with tonight. Thank you for casting with me. I'd like to thank our producer. I'm making sure I get her name right. This is Quite Indulity. Thank you, Quite Indulity, for producing. Supernova, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure to cast on this channel, cast for the team. Glad we were able to get a win here on the Open Qualifier tonight. And Travesty, anything else you want to add? Any final things? I guess I am going to put it back to you. Sign us off.
Hey, listen, you said it best, man. Congratulations to Supernova. Shout outs to our quite indubitably the best producer we could have on the night. Fantastic coming in for the games here today. And thanks everybody in the Twitch chat for coming in and jumping in and supporting your amateur scene and being able to take this wild ride alongside with us. With that being said, my name is Travis C. I've been joined here by Coleslaw. Thank you guys and have yourselves a fantastic night.
Till next time.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside.